All right, I guess there's some people here. They just weren't commenting again. It's amazing. All right. What's Greg White doing here? Jesus. Hey, Jason, how's it going? I think so. I said I was golfing. I went bass fishing today at Lake Oswego. That was sweet. Caught 4. Here, look at my. Now, I don't have a tumor on my cheek, okay? I had the. What do you call it? My life preserver was squishing up against my face. All right? Just so you know. Here, let me. I think I have the picture somewhere in here. Gotta go try to find it. I was messaging Wild Bill Wassman about it somewhere in there. Oh, there it is. All right, look at this, huh? Check it out. Check it out. Look at that. Boom, chakalaka. That. Well, you can't see it. Hold on. I got to switch screen. All right, there. See that? And my cheeks like. But look at that thing. Look at that. That was like a 4-pounder. It was pretty sweet. Yeah, I know the screen's black. I've switched it already. Yeah, see that? And I was on an ultralight too. You know, I casted out the ultra like a little jig grub thing, and there you go. So I mean, it was pretty sweet. I caught 4. There was yeah. I weighed it on a digital thing, and it was 3.5. But I kind of messed up because there was like I don't know. There was something. I don't know if I reset it. There was something on there. Then I reset it. Then I weighed it. So it might have been adding weight from another one, but it was pretty big. I mean, you can see it's big. I mean, I'm holding it up in the air, even when I'm not holding it like right next to the camera like a lot of people do. You can see my hand up there. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. It's pretty sweet. Here, I'll show you guys. I'll show you how this all worked out here as people are coming in. It might have been a female. I don't know. They don't. Doesn't. You can't tell looking at them. I mean, I think it's a female because had a big stomach, and the males are. Well, I don't know. It looked like a female because it was big. It seems like you got the big females and then the little males that run around and. But anyways, let's see. So this is. I think this is right over. Where do we get in the water at? Oh yes, right there. So we park right here, and then get into the water right there. These rocks, they took those rocks out, but you can see right here there's these steps. So what I do is I put doormats on each of the steps, and then you just slide the kayak into the water after it's already got everything on it. You do that at the car. Then you pedal all the way out. It goes like 4 miles an hour. Don't bother fishing in this area. It just blows. It's like just murky and just crappy. And anyways, then you go through this little tunnel here. Now you're in the better place, but this area here isn't even that good. I mean, it's weird. There's this whole area right there kind of sucks, and then right there it starts getting where you can catch fish. And then the big one I caught, I think, was right there. Right in front of that dock. I was like on my fish finder, I saw 2 big ones, and I cast right there and got the big one. And then I made my way around over to what used to be called Halverson's Island. Went around over here, didn't catch anything, but then I made my way back over to, let's see, I caught one right there. I cast right there into the bushes, almost into the bushes, but right in the water, and it sunk down, boom. And then another one right over here. And then I think I caught one on the way back somewhere. Can't remember. But anyways, it was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a pretty big one. For me, anyways. So there you have it. Now, so let's see. So you guys have all heard about Ryan Upchurch, right? Remember during the Kylie Rodni case? See, I covered the Kylie Rodni case. I think that was back in... hold on. What is this? Jesus. Okay. That was crazy. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so we covered the Kylie Rodni case. It feels like it was back in maybe 2022. Yeah, it was 2022. It was right. It was just before Koberger. So it's the same time frame. Yeah, so it was 2022, and the same stuff. There's a lot of YouTubers out there. I could name 10 of them that were the same as Ryan Upchurch, just absolute lunatics, accusing everybody and everybody and everybody and everybody. And even after I, on this channel, where it was able to prove that her car merely drove off into the water, they kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going. It turned into just a nightmare, just like the Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson situation. And Ryan Upchurch was one of the worst. I remember watching and just going, what is this guy doing? I thought he was mentally ill. He was just so ridiculous. And he just started saying all this crap over and over and over again. And look at this. I hope this happens to more of these people. Okay, like, there's somebody with Zav in the front of their name. She was one of the absolute worst that I've ever seen. She should have been sued also. Anyways, you've got this Ryan Upchurch has been ordered to pay millions. Look at this. YouTube Ryan Upchurch has been ordered to pay $17.5 million after a jury reached a verdict in a lawsuit regarding his videos about Kylie Rodni. The 16-year-old, I guess she was 16, was found dead in August of 2022. Right, so then just a couple months later was Koberger. According to the complaint filed by plaintiff Kylie's father, Daniel Rodni, and her grandfather, David Robertson, Upchurch made harmful statement in a new unavailable video titled "Zero Proof Kylie Rodni's Situation Being Real." Like there's zero proof that it's real. On May 18th, the jury found Upchurch liable for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Boy, I think I would have a suit against some people out there as well. It's pretty amazing. Ryan Upchurch has been ordered to pay millions after a jury found him liable for defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress. In 2023, Upchurch was sued by David Robertson and Daniel Rodni, the grandfather and father, respectively, of Kylie Rodni, who died at 16 August 2022. Her body and vehicle were discovered weeks after she was reported missing, having disappeared from a party near Tahoe National Forest in California. Multiple news outlets later reported that the coroner's division of the Nevada County Sheriff's Office ruled Kylie's death was an accident. Yeah, it absolutely was. And you know what's amazing about it? Is I came up with something on my own. Somebody else found this fire camera video. And on my own, I came up with a novel idea and literally proved that Kylie Rodni drove into the water and her car sunk. All right? I proved it. And now I see, I don't know if I was the first one ever to do it, but I never saw it before. And then recently I've seen law enforcement use it a couple times. All right? Now you might say, well, they probably were. I don't know, man. It's sort of outside the box thinking, And a lot of those people often, aren't really thinking like that. So let's see. Let me show you this video here. I think that's it right there. I think that's it. Tahoe. I don't know if this one. This could be. I don't know if that's the one. Let me go back, and I'm just trying to find the one that I was just showing. The reason I'm a little bit late is I was on Paramount Tactical because they're going over with something on that case. So I figured that I would help out over there for a minute. So I'm just trying to find it right now. What the hell happened to it? I just had it. Fire camera. Fire camera, is that it? Jeez. I think it might be this one here.
This video contains subject matter
Alright.
that is filming the exact same place but a different angle.
So this is a different one than the one that I showed earlier, and I actually don't know where that one is. The one I just played like 2 minutes ago. But you notice, see how it's light here? What I did was I took a dark, see these lights that are moving around here? These lights, those lights right there are, it's from a nighttime version of the same shot. Well, what I did was I took a daylight shot and I overlaid it on top of, so I took, well, it's the other way around. I took the dark and overlaid it over the light, and then I made it slightly transparent so that you can make out the movements of the lights driving around. Now watch this. See, her vehicle drove around like this, and then it went off. The other camera is even better than this one. But look there's the lake, and I think you can even see in some of the other camera, you can see lights on the shore over there from the vehicle itself, and showed what it did. It actually turned right hard and then boom. And then she goes into the water over here. And you can see the light right there, and then it dims. Eventually it dims right at the end, and I'm scrubbing it back and forth on this one. Yeah, I wish I could just find the one I just had. It was so good. It was a video, right? Hold on. Hey, thanks, Karen. That's so weird. What would it be called? Fire camera? It's so strange. I literally typed in the exact same thing 2 minutes ago. Man, it's bizarre. I can't explain why it's not on here. Or maybe if I hit show all, is that? Oh yeah, that was it. Unique. Okay, I think this one might be it right here. Maybe. Yeah. So just take a look at this. Look how crazy this is. That little I guess I don't know what you call that, little land area that comes out. Watch this. So here's the lake right here. And we found where Adventures with a Purpose, they actually found the car in the water right there, right? So then somebody found this fire camera footage, and it was from right over here on Alder Hill, and it was filming back this direction, and you could see these lights moving around, and they didn't know what the hell they were looking at. They're like, oh wow, look at lights, yay. And so when I was looking at it, I go, oh my god, this could answer the case. Now watch this. So the car, her cell phone stopped connecting to the towers at like 12:30. So watch this. So there's the timer up here. And if I go back just a little bit more, just so you can kind of see what was going on, there was all kinds of cars driving around. You see how like there's lights over here, and they're coming around. You know, a lot of them are just sort of in a certain area, but you see them moving around the vehicles. But this is all that looked like, right? So see how these vehicles are moving around, and they start going. They might have all been just still for a moment, saying, hey, where are you going, where are you going? And then all these cars started driving. And notice how they all turn and go to the left on the camera, right? And remember, this little area right there, see that area that I'm marking? That's the area her car was found in the water, about right where my arrow is. Okay, but you wouldn't know that just looking at the night vision, the night version, right? It's just completely dark with lights buzzing around. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. They just said that it films this lake. So I took the daylight shot, put it below the nighttime, and then made the nighttime transparent so that you could see the ground. Now look at this vehicle right here. It turned the wrong way. And then it went into the water. You see that? It goes right in the water. And it's incredible. It literally sits there, and then it gets less bright, and then it starts dimming, and it's sunk into the water. And so this right here at 34, 20, 30, right? See how it's getting, the boom. So like at 12:34 and 40 seconds is when her car sunk into the water right there. And if you back it up a little bit, it's pretty interesting because when the car is turning, when it's just about, look over here at the far right on those trees over there. You can actually see the car try to swerve and see the lights? Watch the headlights on the far right way over there. I don't think I could see him that time. I think this one's zoomed in too much or something. I've seen the version I played earlier. You can see around the cove, and you literally see the headlights go to the right hard and then left hard, and then boom, the vehicle goes in the water. So anyways, that's the reality of the case. Very simple. There was a party. She got drunk, and she turned the wrong way and drove the car into the water. And see how a case like that is turned into a nightmare by so many people. Like turned into the craziest story you've ever heard from, because they know that's what their viewers want to see. It's ridiculous, you know. What's this one? All of a sudden there's a fishing video happening. I'm not sure. Oh, that's that Milliken fishing. That's one of Wild Bill Wassman told me about. Hey, thanks for gifting a membership. Wild Bill Wassman. All right. Well, anyways, that's that case. And he got sued. And I think there's a lot of people, especially these YouTube channels that just put out hit pieces on people to try to destroy them. They're sort of in the same category. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Let's see. So he's got a $17.5 million judgment. And right here it says, well, I actually looked it up. He's only worth 4 to 10 million, which, I mean, it's a lot of money, but that's like everything he's got. You know? Man, I think that's great. What a great message to send. You know? It's fantastic. It's not freedom of speech. People go, oh, it's freedom of speech. It's freedom of... No, it's not, man. Well, yeah, well, here it is. It is freedom of speech. You can say whatever the hell you want to say. But there might be ramifications because of it, right? Did you know her? H-Dog? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Are you talking about Kylie Rodni, or? I'm not sure what you're talking about. All right. So we're going to, right now, I just wanted to bring that up first, and now we're going to talk about, do the Nancy Guthrie again, but sort of more just really trying to visualize it. And then there's a cold case solved. But while you're watching, you guys, if you have the ability to help support the channel in any way possible, that would be greatly appreciated. All of your support is what keeps the wheels of Gray Hughes Investigates turning. Well, he's not going to have a chance to do it again. I always like to get this one out here just to have it. All right. All right, so we're gonna let's just go through this one. I think I got more images I can make. You know, let me try another one while we're just sitting here before we get started. Let me just see something. That's not what I wanted. All right, I got one more to try here. I'm going to see if it works. Right, so we all know that Nancy travels over to her family's home, or her, Tomasa and Annie's house at 5:32. That's when she leaves, apparently, and probably got there at 5:42. And then I guess at around like 9:48, Tommaso, I think he just went by himself, dropped her off there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let me try this one. I mean, it's not, obviously it doesn't look like anybody, but let me throw that out there. Yeah. So you could just say it was like this. So here's her garage. Of course, she's older than that person there. And, the car pulls over and probably walks over to the door that's inside. And then at 9:58, this person is walking out. And, it's Tommaso is shutting the door at 9:50, right? And then at 1:47, we have the Ring doorbell camera. But hold on a second. I gotta close this one out and open up a different one. It always takes so long to open up Premiere. It just sits there. All right. We have this image here. We don't know when this was taken. Or not this one. The other one that's still the thumbnail. This one is right around, I'd say this is like 145 or something. All right. And then when he comes back right over here, I think this is right around 147 when the camera was disconnected. There's that guy, right? And then, as we were talking about, he waited 20 minutes or so. He waited to see if anybody showed up. Now, there's two different theories with the vehicle. He could have driven it back there and had it parked at like 2:07. But it kind of makes a little bit more sense that the time between 2:12 and 2:28, inside of that time frame, is when he went and got the car and put it back. Now, you might argue that, okay, well, maybe there was two people that went into the home, and one of the people, if you tie somebody up, you're kind of nervous because you're not really sure how great you did. And so then maybe you have another person inside the house that's controlling her, and then you drive it around. And when you went to get your car, you open the front door, and then you just come back in the front door. Okay, we're ready. And then you get the other guys helping carry her out or whatever. Hold her as she's walking. I mean, you have all of these different things. I don't know what you mean. No, I don't know what I left off in the last show. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're saying, Jason. Let's see. I'm just doing my own recap this time. And so then, let's see. You mean the thing that we read the other night, or the AI version? Yeah, but the other version is, my whole thought is it's just one person, That's what I think. It's most likely just one person. So I think what we were coming up with the other night makes a hell of a lot of sense, that when he goes, 2:12 or so, he goes to the backyard, maybe props open a few, the gate and the back door, just in case, while he's trying to remove Nancy, if somebody came, he could just run out the back. And it might be that he did, it's sort of interesting, right? Because what if he set up the motion sensor at 2:12. It almost makes more sense that he went in first to tie up Nancy and then open those two doors. You know what I mean? Because then, even if she heard it, she's not going to say anything. To use Jason Bourne's logic right there. It almost makes some sense, right? That, but then why at 2:12 did that go off? And, is it at 2:12? Did he make his way into the house a different way? One of the things Jason Bourne has said, maybe he went in through the slider on Nancy's little miniature patio right there. I don't know how you would know that it was unlocked, but, it's a theory. So let's say you go inside the home and you tie her up first. Then you go and you open these two doors. And then you go out to bring the car back. And so that would be later. It would be like at 2:15 or so when he goes out and gets the vehicle and then drives it back and then parks it right in this area here. Then he can just go through the front door now. Doesn't matter. He can go through the front door. He goes and unties Nancy partially, maybe her arms or something is still tied up. And then he walks her out the front door and gets her into the vehicle and drives away. And let's see. All right, so then let's just sort of, I have these images here that are pretty interesting. Like this one. It's dark as hell, but, you know, right there, right? I mean, here's the back of the house with the undercovered area and everything. And maybe he jumped over here and he walks. You can see him walking right here, and he goes over, and I think like right over by that door are floodlights. And maybe he does something to those. And then right over here is the gate. He could have done it at that point. And then after he opens the gate, he goes inside the house. And then he confronts Nancy. But if somehow he was able to get into the house... what do you mean in the blood? Let me just work through the timeline. I can do it. Don't worry. We're not out of the house yet. All right, so he goes over there and then opens the gate, and then he's going to go over here, and then the door's open. I guess apparently the gate and this door are propped open. I wish we knew for certain that the gate was propped open. You know, we know for certain that this door, you know, doors were propped open. You know? That's it. And then I have him like over here after he's propped open the door, maybe walking back in that direction. You know? I mean, it's just sort of interesting seeing it like this, right? Like, oh, wow. I mean, it might be kind of what it looked like if there happened to be a camera up in the air there. And by the way, is anybody here again? We're having a really difficult time for people actually chatting lately. It's just very, very few people even type anything in. So it'd be great if you guys would actually type in the when I'm doing these shows. Yeah, I know you say you're here, but we wouldn't know that because you haven't typed anything. Man, you guys are just, it's amazing. All right, so there he is walking over there. And then we've got, and I'm talking to Timothy Cecil. And then there he is again, kind of walking over to the back door area here. See that? I don't know who's Santa. Oh, Savannah said rear gate was open. She heard it from her sister. Annie said that? Okay. Who did she say that to? I haven't heard that. Was that on a new report? Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. And yes, you too can help support the Gray Hughes Investigates YouTube channel by gifting channel memberships or just supporting the channel. That would be great. What's that? I don't even know what that is over there. I don't know. A while back she didn't say that. A while back she said doors were propped open. The doors were propped open. She never said the gate specifically. So if she just said recently the gate, then that would be different. But before she didn't say that. We've debated that on here. So when did she say that? Yeah. Hey Jason, when did you hear that part? Is that new? Because that's sort of new information that because before she just said She heard from her sister that the doors were propped open. She never said the word gate in that interview. I've listened to it. All right, so if you have the version where she says that, well, it's okay. Hey, was there a court today, Eloquent Pirate? I know you said closing arguments Tuesday, so what would be going on today if Cujo didn't testify? I was out fishing, so I didn't. What was today's? Just more defense stuff? How do you feel about it? Yeah. Are you there? Hello, Jason Bourne. Where did you hear that one? Send it to me. I want to read it. I got to have the proof. Hello? Defense offered one witness. What was Cujo is the citing? Oh, I thought you said he wasn't going to. Does it seem pretty, like, airtight at this point? Oh, she did. Okay. I thought you heard something new. Like, I was like, oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, so we don't know still, right? Because it could be the doors, meaning the security door and the door itself, right? She does say doors. She could be referring to the gate as a door. Look at how it put a plant there instead of a gate. But and then look at these ones are pretty creepy right here. Well, his lawyers are right, you know. But look at this creepy shot right here. So this is AI used basically what her room looked like, and this is somebody that doesn't sort of vaguely resembles her laying there, but this is what it would kind of look like, like the backpack and everything in the room, and she's just maybe sleeping, and he comes in like that, and then I think this might be the next one, and then like like she got woke up to him. He's saying something. Maybe he has I didn't put a gun in it, but see that? And she wakes up, and then, maybe a little bit more like he's starting to confront her or something. And then, so right around this time is when you would have her heart rate would be just going through the roof at this point. Now, we don't really know what time this is. I would think that this would be between two, let's see. I don't know, I would say like 2:20, or not 2:20, like 2:12, not 2:12. It was like 2:15 and 2:20, right? Because then he would have to tie her up, and then he'd have to go outside and get the car. Yeah. Why'd you ask that question, Bonnie? Yeah, we knew that. We already knew that. But hey, guys, if you're watching the show, if you could please consider supporting the channel, that would be awesome. We're currently at 1/12 of a nightly goal, so if you have the ability to, that would be great. Well, that doesn't make it too real. That's what it looks. That's what it would be like. I mean, this is a true crime channel. I'm just trying to this gives it a visualization of like, oh man, maybe it was something like this. It could have been on the other side of the bed. I don't know. So Tuesday will be closing, or he testifies. Well, is it pretty much like a slam dunk and obvious case? So maybe he feels like it's his last shot. I mean, it's kind of his last shot for everything. I know, but hey, Whiskey Boots. You're right, man. It could be 217. I said 215 to 220, and you just gave me a number right in the middle of that. Good job. All right. So, he confronts her at like 2:15 or so, and then he's gonna have to tie her up and etc. And then he's got to get out of the house by like 2:22 or so, and then he goes and gets the car, and then he pulls it back out to the front, knowing that he's already removed the camera. Good job, Whiskey Boots. Boy, you really nailed it that time. Yeah. So maybe it was something like this. I think that's sort of an interesting, just doing that in that order. Here, let's see it, like just kind of going like this. That was earlier. Backyard, back gate. This one he's going underneath the undercovered areas right there. Then he's in the room. She wakes up originally, and then a confrontation happens. It's kind of weird. Like you play that, and it's almost like a video, right? It's pretty crazy. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's sort of helpful just visualizing what it would be like. And I just think one person could have easily done this. I think if you just sort of picture it, again, she gets home at, 9:48. She's probably already a little bit tired, it's kind of getting later for her. And then she goes into the home, I think it was, wasn't that you, Eloquent Pirate, that said chamomile tea or something like that? I don't know if that was you, but it seems like that's what you said. And he goes inside the home, and she's in there, and then, just starts getting ready for bed. I think she's probably in bed by 11 something. And she's maybe in there, maybe watches TV for a minute. Who the hell knows? Maybe reads a book or something. And then she just falls asleep. And her pacemaker is right next to her bed. She'd taken off her watch. Her phone's right next to her bed. And she's asleep. And then, sometime around probably 1:30-ish, somebody shows up around the area. And then at 1:47... you see them, they go to the front door, they remove the camera merely for the fact that they are there to abduct Nancy Guthrie. That's why they're there. They're abducting Nancy Guthrie because she is connected to Savannah Guthrie, in my opinion. I don't think it's just random. I think it's because she is Savannah Guthrie's mom. That's the reason that she was abducted. And then, let's see. Right, so then he removes the camera right around 1:47. We see him in the process of removing it. And he just knew, oh yeah, I'm going to remove this camera. So he grabbed, he was going to take it off with his hands and probably thought, that might tear my gloves. So let me go ahead and grab one of these little plants over here. I'll use the stem. I'll curve it into an arc and then put it behind it, and then he just pulled it off, and then the camera disconnected. I do think it's sort of interesting. It could be actually that the camera disconnected he removed it at like 144. You know, I mean, I'm just thinking this right now. Because 147, if he merely removed the camera and didn't immediately smash it or something, the camera likely, if he's still standing around in the area, would still be connected to the Wi-Fi and everything. It would just still be connected. So maybe 147 is when the camera got too far from the home to connect to the home Wi-Fi system. Hadn't really thought of that till just now. We don't have any times on any of these surveillance shots. So it could even be, hell, you know what? That could be at one, I mean, the weird part is that could be like at an earlier time, 1:35 or so. And he just kept walking around the home. He had the camera in his pocket. And I mean, they, you know, if they have anything else, it would be black video or something because it's in his pocket or his backpack. But it is sort of interesting that, you know, he may have removed it, and then you would have to know, okay, I got to destroy this thing. Or if I stand in this area, it's still going to record whatever I'm doing. You know, you won't see it because it's in his pocket. It'll be a black video with maybe some audio or something. We haven't seen that they've had any audio. But isn't that sort of interesting? Just thinking about it like that? I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, we thought about this early on. Did it keep recording and stuff? But now I'm thinking, okay, well, then 147 is merely the time it disconnected from the Wi-Fi. That's it. And the thing is, if he had it in his pocket, he may have, that might be the time. It kind of makes some sense then if he went back to his car then and he brought the camera over to his vehicle, and then it's no longer connecting unless he knew, okay, I got to break this thing. Because if he kept that camera in his pocket and he was moving around the house and everything, it would have still kept connecting. Right? It kind of makes sense. So he'd have to destroy it some way and immediately. So if he removed the camera and then immediately destroyed it, and they didn't seem to find any parts of it though. So what did he do? Now, don't tell me he had a Faraday bag. Okay. But hey guys, any chance you guys could help support the channel tonight? We're still currently at 1/12 of the nightly goal. It'd be great to have some support from the people watching because you guys are the sole source of income currently, since there's no cases that anybody watches my videos on. So it's the live streams. So if you guys have the ability to, maybe channel memberships, that'd be great. Right, so the thing is remember how her pacemaker, it stopped connecting? I think it's sort of similar like that. It stopped connecting at 228 because it got too far away. So there might be a point where the camera got too far away and it never got close again. So I guess what's weird is if he went back and put it into his car, when he pulled the car up to put Nancy in it, wouldn't it therefore have re-engaged the camera right there in the front of the house? It's literally like 20 feet away from where the camera was before. Maybe when he went back to the car, he just broke it, you know. I guess that's or you know, I don't know. I think he must have just broke it somehow. Or put it, I don't know. Doesn't seem like he'd be thinking, boy, I better destroy it. He probably thought he removed it. I think that's pretty obvious, though. I think somebody might do that. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Again. Hold on a second. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. When is that? 5. Okay, 28. All right. Got to get an MRI on my left wrist. So that's all I can convince to help support the channel is Wild Bill Wassman. Again, he's always helping support the channel. How about some of the rest of you guys? Let's see if we can get some gifted memberships, etc. That'd be awesome. Yeah. So I think it's probably more, you know what? I would say it's most likely that he broke the camera after removing it. And he broke it like inside of something. You know, so it's not like there's no parts or something around. That's what it seems most likely that he did, because if he just sort of put it in his car, it would have re-engaged when the car pulled up there. And it would have been active the whole time. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, the range on Wi-Fi sometimes is quite a bit further, obviously, than Bluetooth is. So he might have even been down. You know how you can pick up your neighbor's Wi-Fi all over the place? You know? So that is sure quiet in here again. Nobody's chatting. It's just very little communications. Hello? Anybody here? Yeah, it would be kind of interesting to test that out. Yeah, so he removes the camera, and he must have disabled it somehow. But, you know, like if we do the version of the story, like if he goes right now to the car, it makes some sense that he'd go there and he sort of breaks it, puts it somewhere. But either way, no matter how you look at it, he's moving the car back up to the house later. He's not walking Nancy Guthrie down the street, okay? He's not doing that. Yeah, it's a 100% a different camera, yeah. No, it's 100% a different camera. Because they said it disconnected from the network at 1:47. They never said it reconnected again. They just said they said a camera picked up motion, human. And actually, after he removed it, it's not going to pick up a human anymore because he would have put it in something, like his backpack. Uh-huh. Yeah, so that was me at 1:47. I guess I sort of should just pick. I think he's a lone actor. I can't rule out that somebody drove the car and pulled it up for him, you know, but he was the only guy that went into the home. It wouldn't surprise me at all if there was somebody who drove the vehicle and pulled it up, but then it sort of makes it different than the nut job theory, because then all of a sudden you got another person, and it was just sort of a plan. That would make it more likely the ransom gone wrong theory in that case, or a fake ransom gone wrong. But let's see, if he's all by himself, he goes to after removing the camera, he only removed it so it wouldn't film the car, and he felt confident that him being on camera wouldn't pose any problems. He's wearing, I think, all clothing he just purchased from Walmart, etc. Three people at the scene. Those people are crazy. Hey, thanks, Timothy Cecil and Whiskey Boots. Yeah. Well, we're making it look more reflective than it is. But every time I do another iteration of AI, it looks like it's, because look, that's what it looks like from behind. I don't see much going on there. In the front, there's those really bright two front reflectors. That's it. But then when you do this AI crap, it has a good time. Look at that. Woo! It doesn't look like that at all, Yeah, so it's just these two front ones that are really on there. Yeah, so let's just see. Okay, so the camera was removed because he was going to be moving the vehicle into the front of the house. Then I think he waits because you don't know if law enforcement or a family member or Nancy herself was made aware. Now, maybe they, sort of stood back in the bushes away from the home and could see that no lights turned on or anything like that, and then waited a little bit of time to see if maybe somebody else, a family member or whatever, was notified. And when that didn't happen, in the newer theory, he's just standing around. That's why he's got his backpack with him. It didn't make sense before to go back to the car with the backpack on, because why did you have it on in the first place? You could have just removed the camera, went back to the car, got the backpack, then went into the house. But in this theory, he has the backpack because this is the mission. He's on the mission now. So he's got the backpack on, he's ready to go. And he makes his way back around the back of the house. It's like 212, you can argue how he got into the home, and then maybe the 212 is him going out and opening the back door and the gate, or that's actually when he finally jumped over the wall, he set off the motion, opened the gate quietly and the door quietly, and then went into the house and confronted Nancy Guthrie. So anyways, I'll just throw out the one where he jumps over the fence. So at like 212, he goes over the fence, and then he goes over, quietly opens the gate. Then he goes and quietly opens the back door. But there is some elements that make more sense. It sucks because it's hard to just pick one of them, because if you go inside the home first, and he's already in the house by some other means that he never even went into the backyard until he propped open the doors. So you might argue that he was in the house at like 2:10 or like 2:08. So he waited, so basically that 20-minute wait, he goes right into the house. He doesn't have to go out and get the car. He goes right into the house at 2:07. And he gets in there some other way, and then he ties up Nancy Guthrie. She's probably maybe tied up by 2:11 or so. It takes him 3 minutes. Then he goes out the back door, breaks the floodlight, props open the back door, and then props open the gate. So that when he's removing Nancy, if somebody happens to show up, he can just bolt out the back. So then right, so let's go with that one. Okay. So he gets into the house some other way, because it makes more sense, actually, that whole thing. He gets into the house some other way, ties up Nancy before 2:12, but just like a few minutes before. Then he props open, and as he's going out to prop open the gate, and maybe that's the one. When he's propping open the gate, that camera sort of picks him up as he's heading back over there. Or it could be the gate in front of the garage, too, just picking it up. And maybe the other one in the back didn't pick up anything. We don't know, but picks up motion. at 2:12, and Nancy's already tied up, but she's been only tied up for a minute or so. Then, a couple minutes. Then he goes, let's see. Then at that point, he goes into the house, and I guess, I guess that's how you would do it, because the only camera that he removed was the front door camera. So he opens the side gate, the back door, then he goes back into the home, checks on Nancy again, makes sure she's all tied up. Then he goes out the front door because there's no camera there. Then he walks over to wherever his car is, and this time now is probably something like, so that's the thing. Now if he ties her up before 2:12, then what is he doing with that other 16 minutes? So that helped kill some of that time. So I guess, let's see, 2:12. It's kind of interesting to try to work through that. So 2:12, it sets off motion, and that's if he already tied her up. Then he's back in the house probably by 2:14, and then I guess he has to go get the car. So maybe that takes up time, but I mean it shouldn't take that long. I don't know. That part's before, when you have the part inside the home, tying her up after setting out the motion sensor, that kills like 6 or 7 minutes or so, and then it sort of everything, that part makes more sense going out. See, so that's what I'm saying. Yeah, no, we've gone over where the car would be. I'm just talking about, like, that's not what I'm saying. See, if you have them inside the house first, and then the propped open door and the gate happen at 2:12, then she's already tied up. Where does the other 14 minutes go then? See, that's the problem. When you have it where he props open the back gate, that's at 2:12. And then he goes inside the house, makes his way to her room, probably 2:14. And then he ties her up. Maybe by 2:20, he's done making sure she can't move. Then he goes out of the, and then you're killing time in there. So what happens, where's the 16 minutes? If he'd gone in there before, and then, as soon as he props open, if he goes in before first and he's motion sensed at 2:12, only probably took a minute or so to prop open the gate and the back door. So then it's 2:13 and Nancy's already tied up. So what does he do for 15 more minutes? So I don't know. Yeah. So I guess the part that you got to sort of work through is, if she's tied up first, then you have a lot of time you got to kill. You see? And there's really no way out of that right there. If you go into if you're propping open the door and the gate first, and that's when motion was sensed, then you might confront Nancy at 2:14, tie her up, do whatever you're doing, and then you make your way out the front door, go to the car, drive it back. Then you have to go back inside the house, maybe untie her hands a little bit, and that kills it. It makes it almost a perfect time frame. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, but see, those things, Jason, you know how we do it over here. Like when you say he could have done this, then it's sort of, like what makes sense? What is the thing? I don't know. Would it really take 14 minutes to pick a door? I don't know. He already knew he was using the front door, right? Because he removed the camera, right? Now the back doors, You know, he just propped them open to get the hell out of there. The back door, and then the gate, right? So that's what I'm saying. I don't know, when you say, I don't know, I'm trying to just go through this in a way that makes sense. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it would take 14 or 15 minutes to... That's a long time. He's trying to get in there and get the hell out of there. So I think a lot of the time, we already know, is killed by... Let's see. I mean, one thing we don't know, Jason, is we don't know how long it took him. Like, let's say he propped open the back gate and the side and the back door. Like, when did he actually enter the home part? You know, and if that camera in the back wasn't actually working, which is very possible, then he could have been, you know, didn't even enter the home until, you know, 2:20 or so. You know, I mean, we don't know, right? I mean, that's the thing. I don't know if he entered the... Oh, that's kind of what you just typed in. There you go. See? You know what would be great to know is if the camera right here, if this one, the one that they removed, was this one working? Is that the one? Because it very easily could have been the camera right there that picked up the one person, right? That one right there. See that? It could be this one. And it'd be amazing to know if that one did not work. Because only one of these two cameras picked up a person. And if that one wasn't working, just didn't work somehow, then they could have been in the backyard. 2:12 is when they opened the gate, for example. Hey, thanks, Linda Howe, as in Linda Molden Howe of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles. That doesn't mean that they might have took it to see if there was anything on it, Jason. They probably took all the cameras to see if there was anything on them. That's the only way that they were able to determine that there was anything on them, is by removing both of them. So we don't know which one was more likely removed. So we can't use that phrase. It's 50-50. They removed this one too. They removed that one. We just don't get to know which one it is. So if it's the one in the back that picked up motion at 2:12, if that one wasn't working, it helps a lot. You know why? Because when he was opening the back door and propping that open, and he was opening up the gate, you would think that it might record another motion. You know, maybe one at 2:13 or something. He also broke the floodlights. Now, maybe he didn't do that at that time. Maybe he did that at a different time. But again, wouldn't it make a hell of a lot of sense if he broke the floodlights at, let's say, 1:30. He jumps over the wall, and that camera doesn't work in the backyard. So there's no motion of when he broke the floodlight, and there's no motion when he opens up the back door, but maybe there's a motion when the gate is propped open at 2:12. Doesn't that make some sense there? Come on, Jason, come on. You know it, man. I mean, based on the information that we have, it almost seems like it's... I don't know. For me, it seems more... I mean, I can't say which one's more likely, but it's very possible that that camera wasn't working. Because it answers a lot of things, you know. Where's the motion of breaking the floodlights? Where's the motion? There should be like 3 or 4 different motions back there. Although, you know, camera will record for sometimes 30 seconds or a minute, and then it has a gap set into it, like, well, don't start recording again for another 20 seconds or so. Well, I don't think they were. Yeah, who said that they were getting notifications? That was a rumor that people said early on. Remember people saying, "Oh, the kids probably get the notification." I don't know. I haven't seen any documentation on that. Yeah, that's just a rumor. It's kind of interesting thinking about it. I guess at some point I just have to do what seems the most likely. It's hard though, because there's things that aren't more likely. I'm just saying, they say at 2:12, a camera picked up a person. Well, how come there was no other, like for example, this camera over here, this camera here would be the closest that you could get, and the angles of those cameras, that camera would have been right next to the person as they opened that gate. So maybe it recorded a person. Now this camera over here is pretty far away. If somebody jumped over the fence, maybe it picked them up if they were coming over there. But it seems like in the backyard it would have taken over more than 2 minutes, don't you think? Or maybe even 2 or 3 minutes. I don't think it was just he's sprinting from place to place. This is all probably... Well, what's weird is when you watch him, doesn't it seem like he is somebody who he could have just lazily been moving around, Like he's at the front of the house, he's prepping the house. So he's at the front, he removes the camera. And then he waits a while, then eventually he makes his way to the backyard. He gets rid of the floodlight. He gets rid of, then he props open the gate. And then he props open the door. And he's doing it all kind of quietly, just very quietly, just barely opening things up. And then finally, after a while, and maybe even after he propped those things open, he wouldn't have known if those might have tripped an alarm. So maybe he walked away for 5 minutes or so. And then he goes around, maybe he looks through Nancy's window and sees, oh, look at that. She's not moving. There's nothing. There's no alarms at all. He's already got the doors propped open, the floodlights broke, and the gate propped open. So he sees that Nancy is not moving. So then there's no alarms set off or anything. So maybe he waits a second time. That kind of makes sense, actually, right? If you broke a light and then you prop open some doors, you don't know if she has a security system. You don't know any of that stuff. So maybe walks away for 5, 6, 7, maybe even 10 minutes, right? At 2:12, walks away for 10 minutes. Maybe, let's say 8. Then he goes back to the house at 2:20. Now that he knows nothing's happening, he goes in quietly. He then ties up Nancy by 2:24. He goes out the front door and he goes and gets his vehicle. And then he drives the vehicle right to the front of the house. Goes and gets Nancy and brings her out to the car. Boom, you're out of there. Hey, I think that one has a little bit of sense to it. That after propping open the doors, he still wasn't sure if that might have set off some sort of a sensor. And breaking the floodlight. He wouldn't know. Thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. But yeah, you guys, if you're out there and you want to help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to keep on trucking as a channel. And, still trying to do some of the good stuff that we do out there. This month won't be one of our greatest ones, but if you guys have the ability to, I know times aren't the greatest with gasoline and stuff like that. But eventually it'll get better. It was much worse a couple years ago. And actually, the barrel prices are going down right now. Hopefully, it stays that way. The truth is I don't want to make a deal with Iran if it doesn't involve them never having nukes. Okay, so for people to go, oh my God, I don't care, man. Gas prices suck. All right, especially here in Oregon and California. In Oregon, it's $6.50 a gallon. California, it's like 8 something, and everywhere in the rest of the country, it's like 4 something. And but it's absolutely worth doing. Okay, so I wish people were a little bit more into that instead of just like, oh my God, I can't buy the gasoline's a little too much. Like it's incredibly important. All right, Iran is the they are a terrorist nation. Okay. Yeah, and maybe they won't make a deal, and then I think we should take over the Strait of Hormuz and just every time they try to do something, just blow them to smithereens, take out their leadership again, just keep going and going and going and going. Because Iran used to be a normal country, if you can believe it. Go back and look at Iran. Here, I'll show you again. I showed it before. I'm going to show you guys this. We'll get back to this in a minute. Let's see. Yeah, so look at this. These are pictures of people in Iran. This is what it used to look like. Oh yeah, just normal students sitting around doing classes, and I mean, women were treated normally, etc., etc., etc. And I know I was just saying that, Livia. And they've just turned it into a nightmare. Okay, a horrendous situation for people. And in some ways, I wish we would go in there. I know we don't want to do regime change, but that's exactly what needs to happen over there. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Iran always has some sort of a thing in the background, some sort of a deal. Yeah. I don't think we can't infer anything like that, Jason. I'm just debating you because you keep typing in stuff, but I don't think we can say it's reasonable to infer. Okay? We don't have any idea. If it was reasonable, let me ask you this, Jason. If it's reasonable to infer, we're debating now, why wouldn't the family members have paid the bill and made sure it was working? I just think it's the camera was there. They thought, oh, she'll be okay. It's got to, and nobody paid the bill, and it just sort of faded away, and the cameras were still there. But if the family was getting notifications, they would have made damn sure that make sure the bills were paid and etc. I just don't think it's I don't have access. I never had access to my parents' security cameras when they had them. But they weren't living alone, like you said. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, where have you read that they got notifications? I'm not going to throw something into a theory when it's just a rumor. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just a rumor. And I guess even the side gate is a rumor, right? I mean, everybody, we talk about it because it was one of Ashley Banfield's sources who said that. And then it seemed like the Savannah sort of vaguely verified it. you know. But I'm not adding in the surveillance. Getting notifications is just a step too far there. That's just, I don't have any, there's nobody who's mentioned that other than people saying, Guy, I bet you they got notified. I still don't know why they haven't told us. Who said that they had access, Karen? You're making it sound like, they haven't told us that because we don't know if there's any of that. And we don't have the right to know who had access to the surveillance camera notifications. So you said, I still don't know why they haven't told us who had access. I don't have access to my mom's, and she lives alone. She leaves her back door open a lot. Oh, that's not very smart, but I'm just saying. Oh, yeah? Which one, Jason? Now I'm so far behind, I don't know where we're at. I don't know. But, I mean, them getting notifications, the abductor wouldn't know that. However, I would think the abductor, doesn't it seem mildly reasonable that when he opened the back door, he probably opened the gate, he probably felt okay, but when he opened the back door, he probably paused and waited for a minute to see if that alerted anybody. Okay. What do you guys think of that? Does that seem unreasonable? That when if he came in over the back wall or so, and then he opened up the back door, wouldn't he also want to pause then? He doesn't know if he woke somebody up when he did that. He doesn't know if that had a silent alarm or something. So maybe he stepped back for a few minutes to see if a light turned on again. What do you guys think of that one? Because I think that element makes things work. If that's the case. Because just think he's kind of casually walking around. He gets the camera off. Then he's going to wait and see if somebody shows up to Nancy's house, or does Nancy wake up? And then when she doesn't, he walks around the back of the house. And then he jumps over. Then he props open the gate. Disables the floodlight. Then he props open the door. Now at this point he's like, okay, now did that do anything? Let me go back out again. He's got his backpack on. Waits a little bit, maybe 5 minutes. Doesn't see any lights on again. So now he's really confident that nobody's being notified. He might not even know about those 2 cameras in the back for some reason. He might have, I don't know. You'd think he would have seen the one in the garage. But if he didn't think he was ever going over there, he wouldn't really care about that. The one in the backyard, I could see him not seeing. And so then after he waits 4 or 5 minutes, no lights, then he quietly sneaks into the house at like 2:18 or so. Then he makes his way to her room by 2:19, confronts her, and then immediately he wants to get in and out. He's not there to be like spending time. And then he ties her up. Probably takes 2 or 3 minutes. So now it's like 2:22. Then he goes out the front door. Takes him a minute or so to get to his car. So that's like 2:23:30. I'm just throwing it out there. 2:23:30. Then he drives over and parks the car at 2:24:15 or so. Then he goes inside the home. He unties her and starts walking her out. It's a little slow because she's not that fast. And then at 2:28, she gets far enough outside the door towards the car. Boom. Well, I hate to ask again, you guys, but if you guys could please help support the channel tonight. As I say, my channel relies on you guys. You guys are what keep the lights on, the proverbial lights on, and everything clicking along. So if you guys have the ability to help support the channel, if anybody wants to do one of our amazing challenges, that'd be great too. If not, I understand. It just isn't a good day, I guess. Ah, jeez. Yeah. I think she collapses on the way to the front door, hitting her head, causing bleeding and passed out. Then, no. And then then he radios his accomplice. That's a problem. There's a problem. Okay. All right, man. Have you been having dreams about this? I mean, that's way too detailed, like really just kind of like you have this picture in your head and therefore it is, So why aren't they saying who could get notifications if some... Hey, Karen, why are you still talking about that? We just went over that. We don't know if there's any notifications. And there's never been any verification of any kind that family members got notifications. If they did, where were they then? And see, that's where, when you start saying stuff like that, that's where the troll community jumps in and goes, oh, yeah, you see? They got one. They didn't do anything, though, because it was them or something, like that. It's crazy. Yeah, well, look, is what P. Soley saying possible? Sure, I will have to say that. What P. Soley is saying is possible. It's just too detailed. So the guy in the car was just waiting for if there's a problem, and he was going to walk Nancy Guthrie down the street. I think if there's another person in a vehicle, they were always going to be radioed, if that is a walkie-talkie, and move the car when he was ready. Like the guy in the house said, okay, I'm ready to take her out, pull it up, boom. And then that would minimize the amount of time to the least amount of time possible that car is parked. The version I just gave you a minute ago is pretty good, because the car is only there for 4 minutes at the most. All right, so I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna go through this again. Ah, geez, Melanie, get the hell out of here. God, you're embarrassing. No thanks. Never works. I didn't ask for your opinion. Okay. Let's see. What? That doesn't make any sense. Hey, come on. Hey, P. Solely, just, come on. We've just given you a more likely scenario, okay? And because you had a dream or something, you aren't going to be able to shift it. All right, so I'm going to do it again. Here we go. Nancy's dropped off at 9:48. The garage door opens. She walks in with Tommaso. I think Tommaso walks her all the way to her door, which is right there inside the house. Then he turns around, walks, and hits the garage door to shut it at 9:50. They take off. Nancy's in the home. She starts getting ready for bed maybe 20 minutes later. And she's in bed by 11 at the latest. And then she falls asleep on her bed and takes her watch off, her cell phone. They're both on the nightstand, and now her pacemaker is connected to the monitor. Then at around 1:47 or so, could even be a little bit before that, all we know is that the camera that the guy removed stopped connecting to the network at 147. So the camera itself could have been removed at 140, and he still had it in his pocket, and there's no usable video or anything. And, you know, then it finally disconnected at 147. And then after that, he probably would have, logically, would have waited to see if by removing the camera, did that notify anybody or set off any alarms or anybody, you know, are the cops going to show up? So it probably waited 15, 20 minutes somewhere. And then right around 2:07, probably, you know, walked around, peered through windows, no lights are turning on, and then perhaps hopped over a fence over here. And then he, you know, but picture him doing it the same way that he was moving at the front door. This is what he looked like in the backyard too, you guys. Just like this. Just like that. See that? So he's just walking around back there. Yeah, opens the gate. Takes out the floodlight. He could have done that earlier too. Who knows? And then he finally, the last thing he does is prop open the back door. Here. See, right now this is open. He can get out. Gets rid of the floodlights. Now the floodlight thing is sort of interesting. You know, why did he do that? Maybe he had a different plan and then another date and then changed it up. We don't know why he removed the floodlight, because the floodlight has, you know, almost no bearing on anything. I mean, it's just like a weird, it doesn't keep a camera from recording you. I mean, I guess the floodlight could have alerted neighbors, you know. A big bright light starts popping up in somebody's backyard, and maybe it may have shined somewhere and a dog barked, or, you know, who knows, but whatever. Anyways, the back door is propped open, and this is all right around like 2:12-ish. But then he's not sure at that point if that door being opened is going to set off any alarms as well. So then he walks around, maybe goes back over this fence over here, and then he sort of stands over here and he looks into Nancy's room and sees that the light isn't going on. Sees that. Then walks around after a while, 5 minutes or so, and sees nothing's happening. So now he's feeling really confident now. Then he hops over the fence again, goes inside the home at like 12:18, and inside there he walks over to Nancy's bedroom over here. And then he confronts Nancy, just like I have in these images right here. She's sleeping. Boom, wakes up. And then, hey, you know, and then right after this, he ties her up. Maybe even ties her to the bed there, you know, who knows. But he ties her up. And he probably got finished with that at like, I'd say 2:21 or so, 2:22. Then he goes out the front door, because the front door doesn't have a camera anymore. So he just, and it allows him to sort of prop it open a little bit for leaving. So then he leaves there at like 2:22, 2:20, you know, probably 2:20, let's just say 2:22. Then he walks out, maybe this way, or maybe he went that way, but the car is probably parked on, like, I would say either this side street here or this one over here, but this spot right there makes the most sense to me out of all the spots that I've seen. All right? I mean, obviously it could be on any of these other, he's not going to park on this street though. Okay? You wouldn't want to be on the street that if cops drive by, your car is visible. You want to be on one of these side streets. It's likely not that one. It's probably not that one, because that's somebody's driveway. This one here is, I was actually going to do a whole show on where he would park the car. But this street here is a possible, look at like that spot right there, right? That's pretty amazing. This spot right here, and then you just walk right down there, and then walk over there, and then there's Nancy's home. So that's really a pretty good spot right there. I didn't see that one before, but right there. And so to get to that, it would probably take a minute and a half or so. So then maybe makes, let's just say 2 minutes at the most. Gets to the vehicle at 2:24. Then he drives around, pulls it into here at like 2:24:45. Gets inside the house at 2:25. Now he goes over, tells Nancy, we're getting out of here right now, and maybe unties her feet. Maybe he just had something wrapped, that he could just easily remove. And then he has her walk with him out the door, and her pacemaker at 228 is too far away from the unit to send a signal anymore. And there you go. There you have it. I think that makes a hell of a lot of sense. What do you think? Yeah, it must be frozen because nobody's typing. It has to be. Oh, I see. Right. Yeah, I think we've always said the getaway vehicle was close. We've said that for a long time. I mean, you're not going to hike 6 miles to go get your car. Hey, thanks so much there, Chris O'Connell. Oh my God, Perplex got a membership? Jesus. I always figure you're in here listening in. Walking out with Brian Cover. Yeah, thanks so much there, Chris O'Connell. And thanks also to Wild Bill Wassman. It's about, you two are about it. We're currently only at 1/4 of a nightly goal, and we haven't made the nightly goal for 4 days now in a row. So we're just sort of in a bit of a funk, I guess, as it were. She's walking out she's going to pass out. I mean, she could have hit her nose or something like that, but she's still walking out of the home. She's alive when she exits and coughs on the ground. I think, I don't know. I wonder if we'll ever know the answer to the question. Law enforcement might have a good idea. I can see hers now, Chicken Wing. Aren't you supposed to log in? And by the way, I got a new mic. I had to get one because people were saying they could. This mic here is way too sensitive. It picks up the fans and everything. It's meant to be in basically a soundproof room where it's just like a guitar or somebody's, perfect voice who talks without any You know, yeah. Yeah, it would be great to have one challenge tonight, at least, you guys. We've had none. Yeah, but I had to get a different camera, or a different mic, I mean. Do you think that Nancy had... I don't know. What do you think about that one, Jason? The waiting a second time for a couple minutes once he opened that back door. I mean, that's just, it's speculation, but it sort of helps the time frame, The other one's weird. Like if you have them inside the house first, right? Let's say you have him in the house first, and then he goes out at 2:12. Then there's 15 minutes of time. I guess you could say that at 2:12. Yeah, so I guess if you're in the house first, and then you go outside and yeah. So let's say, okay, let's try that one again. You're in the house at 2:08. Some other way. Then you tie up Nancy, and she's not going to be communicating with anybody, so you feel pretty safe. Then you open up the back door and the back fence and break the camera. I guess that's sort of... No, but he's already planned to do the front door. See, that's the thing. He removed the camera intentionally for the purpose of pulling up there. So at 2:12, he goes and does that. Nancy's tied up already. And then maybe I guess that's still the same thing I just said a minute ago. Okay, so he doesn't go right back in because, well, I guess once he opened the back door, he may have thought it set off another alarm, but Nancy's tied up, so he wouldn't care. So he's back there at 2:12, but she's already tied up. And then he just sort of chills out for no reason now in the backyard. I don't know. I think the version I just came up with a minute ago worked really well. Hey, look at that amazing challenge by Chris O'Connell. Can you believe it? We got a challenge going. Unbelievable, you guys. So if we can get 5 people to do one $5 super chat or membership, she'll donate 10. So that's like 3-1. That'd be amazing. Let's see. It would be wise to delay just to ensure. Well, there's one. Look at that. Timothy Cecil. All right. But you know what? It's not as wise to delay after he's already gone in the home and tied her up. And then he goes out the back door and, it actually makes a hell of a lot more sense that the way that I explained it a minute ago. Now that I kind of revisualize, I mean, a lot of times I'm like, oh yeah, that does kind of make sense. But the version I came up with a minute ago makes the most sense with the information that we have. Thank you, Timothy Cecil. If we get 4 more of those, Chris O'Connell will donate 10 channel memberships to people out there. So we need 4 more, you guys. Can we try to get at least that done tonight? That'd be pretty cool. Oh, look at that. Run the World 26. Thank you so much. Very cool. Are you running the world? Run the world? Wouldn't shock me. My nose is kind of plugged up. We don't know. She was tied up, though. Right, but that's just, we're saying that, Karen. That's not, see, that's not the same thing as the other stuff that we're talking about. Right. If you want to believe it's an inside job, you can come up with all kinds of theories that make it more entertaining, Karen. I'm not into that stuff, though. All right. Oh, you mean you run the world? Like literally run with your feet. I see. All right. Well, hey, you guys, we need 2 more up there to do Chris O'Connell's challenge. It would make a big difference and help the channel out a lot. Thank you. We'd still only be at 50% of what we would normally call our normal nightly goal, but that seems to have disappeared. No, I haven't. Yeah, if you want to say it's an inside job and it was one of her workers, I mean, I guess we could entertain that. Maybe I should do another show on that. But this is my theory right here. Okay, this is what I think it's an individual who did this all by themselves. And I think they're just a crazy lunatic type that just wanted to inflict harm on people and watch it happen in the news, and that's why they sent the ransom notes afterwards. You know, I can't explain. I don't know how Nancy had a bloody nose. I don't know anything about it. You know, she could have had a bloody nose because she's 84 years old and on blood thinners, and maybe she gets bloody noses. Maybe she just barely got tapped her nose somehow and it started bleeding because she is on blood thinners. But hey guys, can you do me a favor and get those last 2 gifted memberships to reach Chris O'Connell's challenge? Right. I mean, it might be, yeah, I mean, maybe she's prone to get bloody noses. What do you mean with the walkie-talkie? What are you talking about? Hey, Pete, Sully, are you just trying to be contradictory for the sake of it? Because it's nothing you've said has been, you know, mildly like, wow, you know, that kind of makes sense. Yeah, it's dry air over there. We don't know if he brought a walkie-talkie. Yeah, we don't know if he brought one or not. We don't know what that is in his pocket. If it's a walkie-talkie, then I would say that he did. See, that's how I would vary it up. If he does have a walkie-talkie, then he does have somebody else. Hey, thanks so much there, Carol Silva. I used to date somebody almost with that name, but not really. Just similar. It's spelled different too, with a K. Let's see. No, I don't agree. We've had the other theory piece only the whole time. The other one is that if he has a walkie-talkie, then there's a person merely driving the vehicle. I've said this on every show that I've done for at least a month. That if it is a walkie-talkie, then he has another person that's merely the driver, and everything else that he did is exactly the same. except he just walkie-talkied the other guy when he was ready to take her out of the home. So then there's a lot more spare time inside the house then, because now there isn't even the other time where he walks to the car to get it, to then drive it back, and then goes back in the home. So there's that stuff. We've already talked about all that. But then it takes it out of the psycho. I mean, you have to be kind of nuts to do this kind of thing. All right, so we need one more, you guys. One more gifted membership. Who's going to be the challenge beater? Every time I go golfing or fishing, it seems like my nose just gets plugged later in the evening. It's weird. Yeah, you guys, we just need one more gifted membership to reach Chris O'Connell's challenge. Yeah, there's no evidence that she fell. There's blood droplets, but it appears that her head is off the ground because it shot downwards. I think she's just bent over and coughing. Right? I mean, let's look at that again. Look. See that? They're not on the ground. I don't know what this is right here. I have no idea. Oh boy. P. Soley said, "Hey, when you go golfing, always bring 2 pair of pants. In case you get a hole in one." Although you would say it in case you get a hole in one. All right. Anybody, any chance we can get that last one for Chris O'Connell's challenge? This is what I hate having to do on the show. Out of the preservation of the channel, I have to sit here and shepherd through a no-brainer 3-for-1 challenge. If we get 5 gifted memberships, there you go. Look at that. Run the world. Thank you so much. I'm disgusted by creators who continue to blame the son-in-law. Yeah, we don't, I mean, when Ashley Banfield was saying, I believe her that her source was accurate and said that they were looking into and focused in on them. But then they shifted off of it and said they cleared them. And at that point, and even Savannah Guthrie's got her arm around him and everything. At that point, you just got to say, okay, this is, I never do that. Talk about it. I mean, is there a possibility that, there was something arranged with somebody else or something? You got to say, sure, I just don't think it's very likely at this point. I think the person working on the house, hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. There you go. We actually got to the challenge. Believe it or not. Unbelievable. There we go. We got to 50%. That's how slow it was prior. Yeah. Hey, thanks, Wild Bill Wassman. Yeah, so let's just roughly talk about what it means if it's somebody that was a worker at the house. So let's say they're a worker at the home and they're just taking advantage of their knowledge. You have that angle, or you have a disgruntled employee angle that people talk about. You have all of those, So you've got those two angles. So let's go with the Maybe we should just do a whole show on that part. You know? Thank you, Chris O'Connell. Oh, look at there's Karen. Did somebody do another challenge, or are you guys just going nuts on me here? Thank you. Oh, God. Hold on. I'm going to blow my nose. Yeah. Anyway, thank you guys. Really appreciate it. I'll just talk about it. Maybe we will do it. Maybe we should do a show on it, but because that way we can have callers and whatnot, and you can say your theory on that. But I guess if it was somebody who worked there and knew all the stuff, maybe somebody that worked in the house and knew everything about it, her condition and everything, that would be more in the line of a abduction for ransom that went wrong. They went in there, they were just going to try to do it, and then something happened to her, and the ransom went wrong, but they used their knowledge of the house and everything to get in there. They didn't know that it hadn't been paid for. Hey, thanks again there, Carol Silva. Very kind, very kind. Let's see. Well, there's Chris O'Connell again. Thank you, guys. Yeah, it's sort of an interesting exercise. What do you think? You want to call in, Jason? Yeah, you can talk about some of this stuff. I think it is sort of interesting, the element, because it is definitely, that's not one of the possibilities that I go, oh, come on. Right? The possibility that it was somebody who worked on the home or worked there at some point is not terribly, it's not a bad possibility. It's like literally makes sense, Thank you, Wild Bill Wassman. Yeah, I was talking to Wild Bill about I caught bass today. I was telling you guys earlier, but he has this. He's got amazing boats and everything, or a boat with tons of motors. It's like, okay, yeah, you could fish the lake I was doing in 5 minutes, but I bet you would catch a ton. All right, let's do it. Here, before we do that, I'll show the bass again. And I don't have a huge puma on my face. It's just my vest was pushing up against my cheek. It's pretty crazy. By the way, what the hell happened to Kyle Busch? I mean, what a horrible story that is. You guys hear that? Kyle Busch, the NASCAR driver. About 2 weeks ago, apparently he was in a race where he kind of radioed in and said, hey, I need to speak with the medical staff. And then, he was coughing and so forth. And then just this last week, he won a race, and then he got 17th in another race. And then he checks himself into a hospital and he dies. It's some crazy thing. It just sucks, I mean, I wonder if he had COVID. You know that? Because COVID, it can be like that. You get the cough, certain people, you get that cytokine storm, and it just, forget it. Especially if you weren't paying attention to it. Yeah, we'll get to that one after we do Jason Bourne's call, Carol. We'll get to that. I got it all. Though. Okay, we're gonna do it. Yeah, he's only 41. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, wait, maybe I got it in here. Is that it? No? Oh, there it is. All right, look at this, man. Out of Lake Oswego today. Look at this big, my vest is squished up against my neck in there. But look at that bass, though, huh? That's a pretty nice one. It was really like a pot belly. I would love to have seen what was in its stomach. Yeah, so it's pretty good. Using my the kayak. That was sweet. Yeah. All right, here we go. Let me throw it up on there. All right, we're going to do one call. All right, Carol Silva, and then we'll get right over. All right, here we go. We're going to have Jason Bourne only call in, okay? Uh-oh. The update will... Oh, okay. Hopefully it works. It said it wasn't updated. Hope it works. Did you call? I don't know if I'm connected. I'm not a huge. I'm not sure how to make other.
Call from James, aka Jason Bourne.
Hello.
What's going on tonight?
Not much. Just chilling out.
Well, looks like a show. Looks like a show is going on.
That's right. Yeah, I was actually on another show earlier. Excited to do it. They wanted to know about the Kylie Rodni case, and because they were talking about the lawsuit, but they didn't know about the case. So I said, "Hey, look what I did. Look what I did." You know.
Well, first thing I wanted to do is give a big shout out to all the freaks and anybody who's new on the channel, and just want to say you guys did a great job. You know, hitting that challenge, and just like seeing all the interaction in the chat, and look at that work that Gray did, putting together those recreations of those scenes. I thought that was pretty good. You know, it's a true. Yeah, go ahead, Gray.
Oh no, I was going to say that wasn't the one with the going into the garage didn't look quite like what I was hoping it would. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, just being able to put those together gives somebody a little bit of an idea. It doesn't mean that they're absolutely perfect or anything, but, certainly, when you can envision it in your mind, and that's one of the things that I like to do when I consider this, is try to put myself inside that person's mind and to say, okay, what is the best way to go about doing this? And part of that, I think, has to do with what you know about the property, because if you know certain things, then you can go about things certain ways, but I just don't think that he knew a great deal. I mean, I think he knew some very basics about it, but What do you think about that? Do you think he knew a lot going in from his casing, or do you think that he just knew some basics?
I don't know. I mean, I think he knew about the front door camera, because that one shot where he's standing there in the thumbnail, basically. I think it's this one right here. I don't know. And then it seems like, I'm not sure how much he would have got from casing. I guess he could have watched her house a bunch of times and just saw that she was all by herself, moving around. Especially if you started casing at like 8 at night, where she's still moving around and doing things, and you could see that she was all by herself.
You would think that you would want to do it a few times just to know for sure, because I'm just saying, like, hypothetically, if somebody showed up once and they cased, you could not infer from that single casing that she lived alone.
Yeah, you'd have to do it. They think he was there at least those, what is it, 2 or 3 times? 3 times, I think, prior. They seem to think that. I'm kind of wondering if I think they gave us the timeline of that day, but I bet you they have other motions. Here's what I believe. I think, how they say at 2:12, a camera picks up a person. I would bet money that on those 3 dates that they mentioned, that a camera picked up a person at like 2 in the morning-ish. On those days, too. They just don't have video. But they're probably thinking, well, why the hell would there be somebody at 2 in the morning picked up on this camera? Unless it's that same person scouting out the place.
Right.
What do you think of that? I bet you they have the same detail. They're just not telling us because it's not part of that day's timeline.
Well, they certainly did point out some dates of some relevancy, but they never said why those dates were relevant.
Well, that's why I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. I think that's why those dates are relevant. Is because on the same camera, it picked up motion, and they're telling us about those dates, but they're not telling us why. But I think that might be why. Is that they see that on those dates, the same camera picked up motion.
Certainly sounds reasonable. I've been thinking, well, another thing I've been thinking about, too, is and just, again, if we put ourselves in this guy's mind, what is the likelihood that he would have known anything about beyond that stone wall in the backyard? I mean, I don't think he would have known the landscape back there. I mean, because why would you be back there wandering around, casing back there? I mean,
but I guess that might be though. That you're right. I see what you're saying. Like, I mean, those other 3 times. I mean, did it pick up another motion? But maybe he was walking. I don't know. I guess that would make the argument that the driveway camera was the one. The one that was...
Well, where I'm going with it is so that if you're propping open the doors because you want to create escape hatches, and by doors meaning the, gate and the back door, both of those, if you prop those open under the theory that these are escape hatches, well, if the one theory is that I can just run and jump the stone wall in the back and try to escape, as soon as you jump and you go out there, like if there's anything going on, you're pretty much dead in the rights, because where are you going to go? It's dark, you can't see, you're going to have to turn on a light on to see. I mean, so that is not somewhere where I think he would attempt to go. Now, would he leave that gate open that leads to the driveway, that gate, because then he could dart out that way and kind of maybe sneak,
so maybe the back door and the gate are just in a sequence. Like I got to get out the back door to get to the side gate, right? I mean,
yes, and then because it seems like once you would hurdle that stone wall back there, I mean, just hypothetically, if somebody pulled in a driveway and they had evidence that somebody was there, or thought somebody was there, and you hurdled that wall and back, I mean, they're going to be looking around, and dogs are going to be barking, and, you know, and he's going to be stuck back there. Because what is he going to do? Where is he going to go? He can't go anywhere once somebody's got him cornered like that, you know. So even the whole thing of, like, the whole getaway, I mean, I get it. You want to open up those doors. So what I was thinking about that part of it is, so if he comes in, and the first thing he's thinking is, okay, I have to disable the floodlight, because what about if, and just thinking in theory here, what about if he's thinking in his mind, I don't know for sure if she's awake or not, and if she's looking out the window, then she wouldn't be looking out into darkness, she'd be looking out into light, and she would see me. So he would have to disable that light, just in the event that if she was up and didn't look out there, it was just dark. Couldn't see anything, and which is what he would want. He'd want the cover of darkness. So if he disabled the light, then the next step, in my opinion, is that the biggest thing that he's thinking in his mind is, okay, I have to get inside. Now the question is can I do it? And he doesn't know. In theory, he does not know if he can get inside. So he goes up and he tries the door. Now, Karen was bringing up a good point earlier. I mean, and it is true. I mean, you can verify it as well, right? The family did say that she had this habit of leaving doors unlocked.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it's possible, right? The door could have been unlocked. He just tried it and walked right in. But
yeah, well, I think that's exactly. I think that he would have planned to not have to do that, but that's probably how it worked.
Yeah. Oh man.
I think he would have planned for, like, you know, you brought something to get in, you know, a screwdriver, you know, whatever it is. He probably felt like he could do it, you know, but he didn't. Maybe he didn't need to because it was unlocked.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would like to believe that it was unlocked. I mean, I just hate thinking that it was without having, I mean, I know that there's evidence. The evidence is that the family said that she commonly left it unlocked. But, I mean, the only people who would really know that, I mean, how would you even know that she did leave it unlocked unless she told them, like, oh, I leave it unlocked, or this was this ongoing habit for years and years that was just, like, very well known in the family? Do you have any detail on that would suggest that it's true?
No. I don't remember where that came from, but it sounded like it came from, that was a family that said that. I don't remember now.
Yeah. Well, anyway, regardless, the only reason why I was hanging on that point would be that, so if he didn't get in the back door and it was locked, then he would have to take time to pick at that door to get it in. And who knows how long that would take, fumbling in the darkness, if he was or was not good at it. I mean, if this wasn't his thing and he's this nut job, right, that goes in thinking that, oh, this is going to be, you know, buy this thing that I've never really used before. He's not the regular criminal, but now he's going to fumble around with it at the back door. And so, you know, I mean, in theory, he could burn up time there, as we were trying to account for earlier. What was he doing inside the house for that amount of time, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say that he spent 10 minutes trying to pick a lock, but nobody said that's what it was. I don't know. Yeah,
I get it.
I mean, they've actually said that they had no signs of forced entry. So,
right.
So I think if you were picking a lock, then, you know, that's going to be a sign. They can see that, you know.
That is a good point. I mean, yeah, I suppose, right? I mean, anything. I don't know. I mean, but I would think that you're right. There's going to be maybe some evidence, you know, but you'd have to be looking pretty close to know those tumblers, how that, you know. But it's possible. It is possible. But anyway, so let's just say then that he hits the light at 2:12.
Well, hey, before you get to that, yeah, do that. But you know what I was going to say was, like, I bet you. See, my thing about the other times that it picked up motion, I bet you he, even on those ones, was, you know, I mean, maybe he was trying to watch to see if anybody got alerted or showed up, or I don't know if he knew that those cameras existed, though. But anyways, go do your part. Okay, 212.
Yeah. So he hits the light at 212, and I'm comfortable with saying what you said all along is that he does it across the stone wall in the backyard. And the reason why I say that is because I don't think that he crept up that driveway and triggered that camera right there with that one that was mounted on the pool house, and because he would have trying to get in through that gate.
Except,
he would have triggered that
right,
camera.
but he does open the gate, so maybe it did trigger that one. See, that's the thing, is we don't know which one, even if he hopped over the fence, if the one inside the yard isn't working correctly, it's still going to trigger the one at 212. Remember we talked about how the angle of the camera is such that it probably even picks up the gate as well?
We did, but the door does swing inward.
Yeah, it swings
like
inward,
we talked about.
Yeah, it swings inward, but he's still got to, when he's opening it, it probably films quite a, like into the yard there. That's how those work.
Yeah.
They're wide angle lenses.
So that then would go along with the fact that he did enter through the backyard.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Over the stone wall.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. And by the way, there are some thorny things back there, but the law enforcement was walking around there, no problem, during the daytime, but it wasn't even like they were, let me try to get around this. They were just walking around. I think it's way more open. I've seen Brian Enton's videos, and it seems kind of open back there. I think if you just hug the fence, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think there's multiple ways in, and debating which way they got in, that might be a separate thing altogether. But I mean, I do think it's fair to say that the back wall back there was scaled, and I mean, there's footage where it connects to the pool house, and it's a lower wall that it looks like is roughly at hip height, where you could just swing your leg up and sit right. I watched one of the police lay a legal pad right on top of that wall, and it was right near his hip. And I thought to myself, well, there you go, right there. All you got to do is step right over the wall, and you're in.
The pool wall's like a little higher. No, I agree I think it's easy to get over that wall.
Very easy, no problem.
There,
Yep. But as soon as you do, you're likely to trigger that camera that's in the backyard. Now, there was a point, Gray, that was brought up earlier, and I don't know if you saw that or not, but this went back to something even that you had said in the past, is that, he could have went and scaled that gate right there where you go along the back where Nancy's bedroom was, you go along the back of the house, and you get to where that gate was that entered up over by the pool area. Because there was more than one gate. And this was just brought up in the chat. I'm just bringing it up because it was in the chat as more than one way. But I just wondered if that camera that was mounted on the pool house that faced into the backyard would have even picked up motion all the way across there where the pool area was, so that even if you scaled that gate, it would still pick you up.
Sometimes if it's not moving enough. I mean, I remember in the Kanika Jenkins case when, it's picking up motion, but the further it got down the hallway, the little red box started blinking, and then eventually it just stopped, and then there's 8 seconds of... So that one had a buffer of 8, so it's always recording 8 seconds. 8 seconds, 8 seconds, 8, like indoor surveillance cameras. It's always recording 8 seconds, 8 seconds, 8 seconds, 8 seconds, 8 seconds, just all the time. And then if a motion, so even if there's no motion, but it just keeps recording over itself. But then if a motion is detected, it adds the 8 seconds, and then it continues recording because of motion. So this way you get a flow into the motion. And then as the person's walking away, if it stops detecting enough movement, it stops and then records another 8 seconds after the last known motion. So then there's 8, the whole motion, and then 8 more seconds just in case, It's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Actually, that's how surveillance. I mean, I'm not sure if that's how, like these motion activated. I don't think it just is always recording something, but it is sort of interesting how it picks up a motion and then the car isn't even there yet, and then Well, then you see the car, So maybe there is something to it.
So I see him as he comes up and he either gets in the back door because it's locked, which means that he would have, if it was ajar, he could have just pushed it, or if it was closed, he could have tested the handle, and if it opened, then he pushes it open. But now the second he knows that it's open, at that moment, he still doesn't know for sure what's going on inside that house. He doesn't know what he's walking into. Now, he thinks he knows to a degree because if he's been watching the house and it's been dark, and maybe if he even did some pre-checks, that he thinks he does, but he still doesn't know for sure because it's a dangerous thing to be walking into somebody's house at that time.
Yeah, so he might think he set off an alarm or something, and so he's going to wait again.
Yep, so exactly. So, like you were talking earlier, there would be a little delay and you would probably turn around and say, okay, I'm going to prop open that back gate right now.
And he might have climbed over that wall again because it's so easy, and then walked around and then sort of watched Nancy's room or something to see if a light turned on.
Yeah, could have walked even back over there to that other side. Yeah. I think it's reasonable for anyone, if they were to say, well, how would he know where her room was? Well, if you were surveilling from the outside, you would see her bedroom light turn on and off at night, presumably.
And maybe he'd been there. I think they think he's been there multiple times, obviously, by what they've said. Yeah.
So let's say that he hangs back and he waits a little bit, and he does go around and he wants to make sure that everything is still good to go. And he does. And so now he comes back and doors are open, ready to go. And he goes in and he knows where he needs to go roughly. Like he knows how big the house is and he knows kind of what quadrant she's in. So if he goes in that door, he already knows that she's going to be in that front house up in the upper right corner somewhere, and so he could go in there. He's going to take out that bright light sooner or later, because as soon as you brought up the picture of him standing in her bedroom, and I was thinking like he was yelling something at her and just how terrifying that would be, but certainly he wouldn't be yelling at her with a bright light in his mouth.
Yeah. But he probably knew, okay, I got to get over to that portion of the home. Unless he worked there before. So that's why we probably got to do a show on, like, what does it mean if this is somebody that's worked there? Because then I think it changes stuff up, So anyway, because the thing is, he just would have gone in and knew he had to work his way to, for the lack of a better term, the northeast corner of the house. And then that's where her room is now. The hallways are different, because if you walk all the way down where the chimney is, well, that just goes down to the slider, right? So it's like, okay, there's a different place that you got to kind of meander through. So maybe that took him a couple minutes, but he quietly snuck around the home, inside.
It'd be like the Grinch who stole Christmas. He had to be sneaking around in there, slithering around and checking things and concluding that, okay, I'm in the area now and there's only so many doors left, and she's got one of these are going to lead where she's at,
Hey, look, we got a comment by Felicia who said, this is the first time in an investigation chat. Wow.
Good.
Yeah, I guess that means like nobody else does that. They just sort of randomly, wildly speculate. Or either that, or this is the first time they've ever watched a true crime channel, and I'm just hoping that's what she meant was the first one, though. Yeah.
Always a welcome to anybody who's watching out there, or put something in the chat, and just a shout out to everybody. And everybody's at different levels of understanding in this case, and I'll tell you right now, I don't know as much as the case investigators. They're the ones that I would love to know what they know. But anyway, getting back to our entry point. So he's inside the house now, and let's just say that it's 218, 220. But he doesn't have to be in there too long, because he already knows which quadrant she's in, so he goes around, he makes his way. but he does have to be in there long enough that his goal, and he knows this has to be his goal, is that he has to secure her in such a way that no noise she can make, she can't tip something over, like nothing's going to interfere.
Duct tape on her mouth, tie her feet, and tie her hands through the bed or something.
Something, well, and something that's not going to, like whatever and I was thinking about that, so whatever he did, he wouldn't want to leave traces of what he did. And then maybe they found some things in there. But for example, I'm just giving an example that if he tied her to the bed, or if he, did something that left trace evidence that showed somehow that she was secured and it looked like, she was tied somewhere, then that would really make investigators think, I know why she's tied up, because he had to go and get his vehicle. I mean, you'd instantly conclude that. Why else would you tie her up? I mean, they might think it was an SA, right? But, I mean, if they're not finding any evidence of anything in the sheets or anything, I think that they would rule that out.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, do you want me to keep going along the timeline?
Well, I want to get to that. I don't mean to, but I'm already almost 3 hours. I got to get to that cold case for some people that wanted to see that. But I consider do this all day. But tomorrow, well, how about we do the other routes? The other options about it being somebody that lives there, etc. But you can start off by finishing up on, going through this part again. And you can refine it overnight. How about that?
Yeah, however it works out, it's always good on this channel. We know that we're here to focus on the most reasonable, common sense things that we can conclude, and not stick ourselves out on limbs. So,
I think it's I always like productive night, though, isn't it? I mean, it's like it feels like tonight we developed that other theory about a second wait for the door. So that really sort of helps. It makes a lot of sense, and it makes more sense of the time. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense to be in the house for 15 minutes, right? He needs to get in, and he needs to get the hell out of there. So I think I like what you were just saying a minute ago. Like, he gets in at 2:18 or so, and he's already 10 minutes later. He's already got the car, everything, and he's out of there. He's gone.
Exactly.
So.
And certainly, if you're going in blind, then, and you don't really know, you can't monitor if anything's been notified. I mean, you think the coast is clear, you think you've done all your homework, but you never know for sure. You don't know. I mean, you have to be somewhat of a nut job, because the paranoia would be crazy, like, oh my God, I got to get out of here, so the time he'd spend in the house, you'd think he'd be so paranoid that, even like tying somebody up, I mean, somebody'd be like, okay, I can tie her up, I can leave her here.
I just see the way he moves around. That's kind of how he is. At the
front door. That's a good point.
That's just how he's just.
That's a good point.
Because the way he's moving there, it's so odd.
Casual.
You got to just think that that's how he is too, even when he's in the backyard. He's just kind of looking around. Oh, how about this? Oh, maybe I'll. I mean, it's just weird, So I think he is there's a good chance he's just some crazy killer type who just wanted to, like the arsonist, just wanted to create a situation where he could just keep watching and enjoying his handiwork by communicating with the media, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, but that she was never supposed to live.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly can open that up to more discussion. I would like to. I want to be respectful of the other stuff that you got to get done. But I did just want to say really quick, I'm a big fisherman. I told you that, and I know what you are, and Wild Bill is, and so just very quickly, did you want to hear my 2-minute story about how I fell off the boat? I thought the chat might want to hear.
If you can do it in 2 minutes, it's like name that tune. Can you do it in 2 minutes?
I think I can.
Okay, do it. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm clocking.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, so chat, this is how it went. I went to this lake. I went there very rarely. Was way out in the middle of the woods, and I was all alone, and I'm in this little boat that's more like a 10-foot aluminum pram, which is a small aluminum boat. I bought a brand new swivel seat, and I had to hook it to the bottom of the seat as a clamp and clamped it down, right? So I'm all excited. I get out there, and I'm pulling in the fish, one after another. It's just great night, sunny out. It's probably about 6:30 at night. Great time to be fishing, and I hooked into this big one, and I turned just right and to turn kind of like sideways in the boat and leaned back in the seat a little bit, and all of a sudden I just felt the whole seat like losing grip of the clamp on the bottom. And that very instant it tipped me over backwards, and I went right into the water.
Wow.
And
was it hard to get back in the boat?
It filled up full of water, and I had the bucket in there, and I had to bail water out of the boat before I could climb back in it. But I did get into it, and then I had to do more bailing once I got out of it, or once I got into it. But right. Yeah, it was a shocking, refreshing tale.
Yeah, I don't have one like that.
Yeah, I bet, eh? You're a little bit smarter than me.
Well, all right, well... I said I hope I don't have one like that in the future.
Yeah, well,
it's
I would have sworn
kayaks. It's hard to get back in those suckers.
Yeah, I almost was worried about swamping the boat when I got back in there, and it was tiring me out bailing it. But it was, hey, gotta get her done. But anyway, just shout out to the chat tonight for jumping in there and helping out Gray, and he works hard for the channel, and I'll let him get on with his business.
Well, thank you. Thanks for calling in. Good stuff. Appreciate it.
All right. I'll talk soon.
All right, have a good one. See you.
Yep.
Jason Bourne. Hey, Carol Silva, you still out there? You still out there, huh? All right. Well, for those of you who want to still stay awake, I've got this. There's been a cold case solved. All right. It's pretty interesting. Oh, there you are. All right. Okay. Anyways, thanks for calling in again. Jason Bourne. Let's see. Jason Bourne. All right, how do we do that? Okay, so I'm going to go, we're going back in time. How come that's not in the right order? Hold on. Oh, it's underscore. All right, just a second. Jeez. What the heck? This one actually, they use Parabon Snapshot, which is just a really crappy, it's just totally useless. It's not worth doing. All right, anyways, we're going to go back in time, 1986. Here we go. And that one just disappeared. Okay, right over here. There we go. And let me get to, I have a folder, hadn't really put anything in it, but we can do it. And then, it shouldn't take that long. Yeah, it's Roberta Walls from, it's actually Newport Beach, I think Virginia. Or wait, Virginia Beach, Virginia, not Newport Beach. All right, I'm just going to go over here to the general area somewhere. All right, just a second. Let me go there. Okay, so Virginia Beach. Yeah, what's this other case that I have there? Why do I have that in there? This one is Anna Maria Phelps. That's weird. That's 1989. I always think that's interesting. That's why it's so cool that we have so many different cases. We have way more than aren't even on here. And then you sort of look at the dates of a case that you're looking at, and then you sort of wonder about, did that person do that one too? Now don't forget to comment and talk, and after the show, make a comment under the video. All right, that'd be awesome. And if you're watching the show and you have the ability to help support the channel, I would appreciate it. We're still probably 14 channel memberships short of just the normal minimum goal that we haven't reached in 4 days. All right, so we got that guy. Let's just go back in time. So here we go. Now that we're in the right area and everything. Authorities investigating the stabbing death of Roberta Lee Walls continued questioning friends and relatives Friday in an effort to establish who may have been with her the night she was slain. We are checking all those who were closest to her and who may have had contact with her, said Steve Dunn, a detective with the Virginia Beach Police Department. This is back in 1986. Walls, 22, lived in the... Okay, now we can get the general address here. 700... let's see. Olivia... Airy... Yeah, there you go. Yep. Is that Lane? Yes. So here we go. She lived generally right in the 700 block. So what I always like to do is go, well, where's 800? Okay, well, 800 is over here. So it must have been... Why'd you go around the corner like that? I don't get it. This is the... Oh, no, it's right there. So it's going to be from, here over. So somewhere right around in here. I could probably get the precise one. Should we look her up on Been Verified and see if her name somehow randomly is on there? Let's see. Roberta Walls. And then Virginia Beach, Virginia, and she would be like 60, something. Well, that might be her. It was 86. How old did they say she was? Was she 20? 22, so she would be... she would have to be born in 64, right? So she would be 62 years old, I think. Let me go back one more. Okay, there's one 62. I'm just going to try that one and see if it said that she died in 1986. If not, I'm moving to do something else. No, she's still alive, this one. All right, back to this. The fact she was found outside has complicated the search, police said. So it says Walls 22 lived in the 700 block of Oliveri Lane in Aragona Village, died of multiple stab wounds, police said. Her partially clad body was discovered Thursday in a field behind the old... Let's do it. The old donation center for the gifted. Oh, look, it's just right over here. Hey, thanks, Chris O'Connell. So here it is. She was found behind this. So it's probably, I don't know what it looked like. Let's go back on the map and go to like 1994. Yeah, look at the big difference there. I mean, it didn't look anything close to, look at that. So this is 1994, totally different. So I think she was found just back out here somewhere. Body found. Yeah, look at that. That's crazy. I mean, that's like about as different as you could possibly come up with. Well, thanks. So where does that put us at? One. Yeah. So I guess we're only 8 away. 8 memberships. But hey, that's thank you guys for, again, thanks Chris O'Connell, Wild Bill Wassman, also Carol Silva tonight, and everybody else who's helping support the channel, but special thanks to them. All right, so the fact that she was found outside has complicated the search, police said, because they have been able to recover little physical evidence, such as fingerprints. The murder weapon has not been found. Robert Walls, Roberta's father, said he last saw his daughter Wednesday when he gave her a ride to work. Roberta Walls worked her regular 1 to 9 p.m. shift Wednesday as a volunteer at the Bayside branch of the Virginia Beach Public Library. The father said he thought his wife, Antoinette, oh man, I don't even know how to pronounce that, was the last family member to see Roberta Walls alive at about 9 p.m. when his daughter stopped by briefly after work. Walls will be buried at 11 a.m. Monday at Colonial Grove Memorial Park following services. That there's no more, I guess I'm just looking for the information behind it. And then here's the notification in the paper. Funeral information, Monday, Miss Roberta Lee Walls, 7, oh, was that, oh, that's, they actually gave her address out. There you go. I thought I saw something similar. 720. I thought that was the address of the funeral place, But no, we have the precise address now of, look at, my pin is not too far away. So we can just go right there, and now we can go take a look and see where she lived all the way back then. So she lived in that house. So cool, we got it. And then I had to use a different newspaper source because newspapers.com had almost nothing on this. So mother, father agonize over reality that daughter's killer is still at large. This is from about a year, about 5 months later. Roberta and Ann Walls can't remember how often they warned their daughter about the danger of hitchhiking, but they say the lectures didn't matter. Roberta never listened. I remember saying to her, Bobby, someday you're going to get into trouble and you won't be able to handle it. Robert Walls, and her name is Roberta, just one letter different, recalled someday some guy will come at you. He may have a knife or a gun and you won't be able to stop him. You're going to end up dead along the side of the road. And I remember she said to me, Daddy, if anyone ever kills me, It won't be a stranger. It will be one of my friends. Hey, thanks, Karen. Let's see. It says, on May 15th at 6:30 a.m., a man taking a shortcut through a baseball field found Roberta Walls, the 22-year-old, had been sexually assaulted, sodomized, and repeatedly knifed. Karen said, for another awesome call from Jason. Chicken wings, so much fun tonight. Off to bed, freaks. All right. I'm glad he confirmed my theories that we talked about. Now, he always comes up with stuff where it's like, oh man, okay, well, let's work that into the theory. I think the cool part from the night was coming up with the secondary pause that's probably likely. But anyways, back to this. Thanks for commenting on the case that we're talking about, Karen. And I remember she said to me, Daddy, if anyone ever kills me, it won't be a stranger, it will be one of my friends. On May 15th at 6:30 a.m., a man taking a shortcut through a baseball field found Roberta Walls, the 22-year-old, there you go, the baseball field. The 22-year-old had been assaulted, sodomized, and repeatedly knifed. The family does not know if Walls had been hitchhiking when she met her killer. They hardly care about that now. They only want the man found and prosecuted. 5 months after Roberta was buried and long after the family's patience ended, the killer remains at large. If the police have pressed this case properly from the beginning, it wouldn't have been days or weeks or months, Roberta Walls said in a moment of frustration. Let's see. It says, Roberta Walls said in a moment of frustration, it would have been hours before the case was solved because whoever did this lives right around this neighborhood. Police said that claim has not been proven. There, let's see. Police said that claim has not been proved and have asked for patience from the family. When you call them 3 or 4 months later and they still say we're waiting for lab tests, you gotta wonder, Walls said. I know that's baloney, but you cannot tell a man how to work his job. Since the day detectives called with the terrible news, Ann Walls has endlessly wondered about her daughter's remark, how she would how she would die at the hand of a friend. If the killer was an acquaintance, who was it? She has asked. How could a neighbor be as cruel? And if it was a neighbor, which house does he live in? While suspicion in the neighborhood remains sticky social matter that parents must wrestle with the more complex problem of self-doubt. Let's see. Once when she was young, she stole her father's car, Walls said, and wrecked it on Birdneck Road with a motorcycle buddy. Her father pressed charges. I could see talking would do not good, he said. But I think about her every day. I mean, she lived here for 22 years. Is this the second part of that? I think it is. Anything about, let's see. Roberta Walls' run-ins with the police eventually landed her in court enough times that she was sentenced last year to perform community service. The 4 other Walls children, all grown up with the exception of one Bayside high school student, have avoided trouble with the police. The Wallses last saw Roberta alive around 9 p.m. the night of May 14th. She had gone to work at the Bayside branch of the public library and had gotten a ride home from a neighbor. The night Roberta said she was going out with the man who had given her the ride home from work. They apparently planned to have some drinks together. So let's see, what are they saying here? She was going out with the man. That night, Roberta said she was going out with the man who had given her the ride home from work. They apparently planned to have some drinks together, police said. Ann Walls told Roberta to be home at 10:30 p.m., but Roberta never returned. Sometime between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., Roberta Walls died. She apparently had several drinks because the alcohol in her bloodstream showed she was legally drunk when she died. Despite an extensive search of the baseball field behind the old donation center for the gifted and talented, no murder weapon was found. I've been through a lot in my life, said Roberta Walls, a 51-year-old rigger at Norfolk Naval Shipyard in Portsmouth. I fought in 2 wars. I was awarded 2 Purple Hearts in Vietnam. And I had a lot of my buddies, close friends killed in action. But the hardest thing I ever had to do was to go down to that morgue and identify my little girl. I knew it was her the minute I saw her. I could even tell the way she lay on the table and the shape of her under that sheet. And I knew right away it was her because of her coal black hair. That's crazy. Jeez. All right. Well, you guys have, let's see, what are we at? We are only, let's see. We are 7 channel memberships short of reaching the goal tonight. We haven't reached the goal in 4 days now. And it'd be nice to just try to get one in. All right, so if anybody out there has the ability to help support the channel, that would be awesome. All right, let's see. We get that. Oh yeah, so I thought this was interesting. So, there's this individual. Well, let me do that later. Okay, this is pretty crazy though. Hey, wow, look at that, Phyllis Watson. Very cool. Thank you so much. And this is police say arrest near Walls slang. Police said Sunday that they are near an arrest in the slang of 22-year-old Virginia Beach woman who was, assaulted, sodomized, and stabbed repeatedly last year. Beginning Monday, detectives were to conduct several interviews. They say they have hoped the information gathered will be enough to justify issuing a warrant for the man who killed Roberta Lee Walls on May 15th, 1986. Hey, thanks, Carol Silva. Police declined to say how many interviews they will conduct or why they plan to or who they plan to contact. Anyways, they're saying, "Oh, we're about to solve it." This is 1987. Okay, this is 1987. Okay, forget it. Then in 2017, it was back in the news again because they did Parabon. Police hope technology can help solve the cold case. Authorities in Virginia Beach hope new technology can help them finally close a decades-old case. So they used Parabon Snapshot, and they came up with these images right here. And so that's, Parabon Snapshot is good for skin tone, freckles, hair color, but other than that, it's, in my opinion, is worthless. If you have enough DNA to do Parabon Snapshot, just skip it immediately and go right to IgG. It was cool when it first was invented, but after that it became useless, in my opinion. in terms of, well, it's not useless. It's just like, why wouldn't you just go straight to IGG? For decades after a young woman was assaulted, murdered, a man has been linked to the crime through DNA and is under arrest, according to Virginia Beach police. It's incredibly scary for this community to think that someone who would sexually assault and brutally murder someone 40 years ago. By the way, you know the R word, you know, how many times did we say it last night on the show, because we went over this case that had, this person had done it many times. That video didn't get any demonetization status, the live stream. So all these people saying unalived and all, it's just garbage, man. YouTube, I think they've sort of figured it out. Like, you know, you're in a true crime channel. This is what people talk about. Anytime I see somebody say unalived, I lose all respect. I just think, what, you know, come on. That's such a stupid phrase, you know. It's ridiculous. He's unalived, everybody. Ridiculous. Yeah, it just does stuff like that. Yeah, eye shading, freckles, skin, hair, whatever. You know, I've gone over this many times. I don't need to, you know, I don't have to be corrected on it. I know all the different things. They've done it in other cases, you know, like April Tinsley, the guy, you know, sure, had the right skin tone, etc. Looked nothing like him. April Tinsley's killer was a freaking, he was like an ogre. Like, he looked like a freaking monster. Because he was one. All right, so anyways, let's, this is the guy right here. Okay, here he is, everybody. What do you think of that one? Does that look like the snapshot image that we were just looking at? Yeah, I don't think so. You know, it just doesn't seem to look the same. And this is another article I was talking about in 2017, the DNA testing. All right, where's the other one? I thought it was that one. Right, so there's the picture, you guys. Does that look like that guy? Yeah, no, not really. Nose doesn't, look it. The nose doesn't look the same, the mouth doesn't look the same, the ears don't look the same, the way the hair is set doesn't look the same, the eyebrows don't look the same. Other than that, it looks exactly the same. However, the hair color was likely right. The eye color was probably pretty close. There you go. No, this guy doesn't look anything like him, other than he's a white person. Oh yeah, that bow tie, just like my shirt that I got. Oh God. Oh my God, remember that? That's not even a bow tie. It's just like that shirt that I've got that you guys all make fun of. Yeah. And I think Paramount Snapshot also tells you like the region and everything. Yeah. All right, so that, and I didn't know what his middle name was, but I just looked around and I finally came across and got his name, and then eventually it showed up in some articles, but I was able to find his middle name, and then I found his whole name in an article. All right, so that was the one that popped up on the screen. Now, I think this is significant here. Don't you find this significant? So this is him. So he married somebody named Jean Aletta Burkett. Now, I verified that on Ancestry, and there she is right down there. That's the spouse, and as far as I know, they're still married. You know, it's crazy. That doesn't say that they were divorced or anything. So Jean, Burkett, Charles, Barry marry in double ring ceremony. Jeanette Aletta Burchett of Bristol, Tennessee, and Charles Randell. That's a really unusual, like Randall, but like Randell. Dell. Barry of Milford, Michigan, married at 7 p.m. So that is him. I mean, just the name alone, to have Charles Rendell Barry is like, you know, 1 in a million. You know, it'd just be ridiculous. But he also married a person. That's exactly the person he married on Ancestry. So here we go. We got, this is in here, but look at the date up here. This is November 9th, 1986, which is 6 months. All the other articles, by the way, are, you know, May of 1986, also May, and then October, and then 1987. But don't you think it's interesting that he gets married the same, and look at it, it's October 17th is, what is this saying here? It says married at, so they were married on October 17th. Man, that's even more significant. Charles Rendell were married at 7 p.m. on October 17th. So this article 11/9, but they got married on October 17th. And then look at this. This article right here is the whole one about the family that I just read to you was October 12th, 7 days before he got married. I bet there's something, you know, like, I mean, he must have planned the marriage out, but I think, like, he just did these other things before he got married, or he got married to hide himself, you know, because he had 5 months. I'd love to know when he met the wife that he had. I bet you that wasn't something, like they hadn't been dating for a couple of years, but it's also possible that maybe she was pregnant or something like that during a certain time, and then he went out and did this to somebody else. But I can't ignore the timing of the marriage to what he had done 5 months prior. There's got to be something to that. It's not just random. Oh, I just happen to be, you know, there's no way. Now, it could be that he planned to get married, and then that's why he intentionally did this before he actually tied the knot. Maybe he had some sort of weird moral compass there. Who knows? But I thought that was interesting. And he's not in Ben Verified, by the way. Yeah, so here he was again on... I just found that online. That's how he got his middle name. Ben Verified did not have him living in... So if I pull him up, let me show you. He lives in this town called Newington, Connecticut. But he... or actually, that's right. That's where he lived. Okay, so he does not live in Virginia Beach. That's where he lives. He was arrested in Newington, Connecticut as well. And then there's his wife right there. Again. All right. And then when I look up her name, because she's in Ben Verified, Jeannie Aletta Berry, he doesn't show up. So he's been hiding himself, you guys. All right, now I haven't listened to the press conference yet, but here it is. Okay, we're going to do that right now. And all we need is one more super chat, and we'll reach the goal, the minimum goal. That'd be a good feeling. All right, here we go. You guys want to watch? It's only 15 minutes long, and that'll do it for this one. But isn't that amazing, you guys? But I thought I did a pretty good research on this one, you know. A lot of the articles I got, I was the only one that found those ones. And so it's like, Oh yeah, and then he, so where he lives now, where he was arrested from, was right over here. Right in this apartment. And his wife, the wife that I looked up and she's in been verified, has the same address. So I think that they were still married when, isn't that incredible, you guys? Think about it like this. He brutally kills this girl. 5 months later, he marries this woman, and he's still with her when he gets arrested. Man, that's amazing. That means he was hiding the whole time. He goes, I'm going to get married. I'm never going to be able to be with somebody again. And I look so weird that nobody... And then he just assaulted and killed her. And then he goes, now I'm going to move on and live a normal life. I bet that might be what he did. Well, thanks, Chris O'Connell. We got to the minimum goal tonight. Yeah! For the first time in 4 days. Unbelievable. All right, here we go. I fixed the audio. I think it should be good. There are some questions. Let me see. Let me try to boost some of these up really quick. Right there. You can kind of hear him. Anyways, let's just watch the whole thing. It's only about 15 minutes. Guys, isn't that creepy as hell, the marriage part, though? I think that really just sort of shows what this guy is, man. And they had, obviously, they collected semen or something like that. And even in 2017, they had the full sequence, but they finally got the funding. And that's what we do. We fund these kind of cases. They got the funding, and it was approved, and then they did genetic genealogy, and it led to this guy.
Just an example of Virginia Beach Police Department's dedication to Roberta Walls' memory and her family and service to all victims of crime in our city. Known to those and her friends as Bobby, Roberta Walls was a loving daughter, a big sister, a friend to those who knew her, and someone that could be counted on in her circle of friends. We are very grateful for the dedicated professionals who have...
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I have a couple ways I could think about it. After he killed her, he wanted to make himself blend in better, so he quickly romanticized somebody and got married, but he doesn't seem like somebody that would have that ability. So it could be somebody that he met a long time ago and was going to get married, but he didn't want to... He had some weird sort of belief system thing where he didn't want to taint his marriage or whatever, but he had these desires, so he goes out and he attacks this lady knowing that he's going to get married, attacks the victim in this case, and he knows he's going to get married. Then after that, he just shuts it all down and he lives a normal life. It's also possible both of those things, like he went and got married and then he wanted to hide who he really was and continued to kill other people. But a lot of these people, they just do it one time, even though they're monsters regardless.
We've worked on this case over the years, and I would like to recognize just a few of the detectives, some of which are no longer with us and could not see this day to conclusion. Some have since retired from police work and have longed for this day, and some are still active members of the Virginia Beach Police Department. Retired Captain Tommy Baum, retired Sergeant Paul Yoakum, retired Detective Steve Dunn, Investigator Bill Heath, Investigator Tony Shusey, Detective Angela Murphy, Detective Eric Galloway, and Detective Chris Jachimiak. At this time, I would like to turn the podium over to really the leader of this investigation. It was her leadership and her dedication to the mission of the Virginia Beach Police Department's Detective Bureau that made all of this happen. So please welcome Captain Michelle Wyatt.
Thank you. I'm Captain Michelle Wyatt. I'm in charge of the Detective Bureau proper. Through the decades of investigating this case, technology and science advanced enough for us to re-examine the evidence collected in 1986. The evidence had not been tested since 1986, and advances in forensic technology allowed the evidence to be resubmitted for additional analysis. In 2001, investigators developed a DNA profile through the Virginia Department.
There you go, the DNA profile. Hey, thanks. Marty got me some coffees. All right.
Department of Forensic Science. As a result, a male DNA profile was developed and entered into the National DNA Data Bank. However, no matches were identified at that time. During the course of the investigation, the DNA of more than 30 males was compared with the offender's DNA, and all were eliminated. In 2023, the Virginia State Police awarded grant funding to the Virginia Beach Police Department from the Virginia State Attorney's Office, the Psaki grant, allowing investigators to pursue forensic genetic genealogy leads. Through that process, investigators identified a possible suspect who had strong ties to the area during the relevant time period. A direct DNA comparison ultimately identified Charles Berry as a source of the DNA profile originally developed in 2001. The cold case squad continued to pursue the investigation into Berry's involvement and ultimately presented the case to the Office of the Commonwealth Attorney for consideration of charges. The OCA agreed that probable cause existed and authorized presentation of the case to a grand jury. The charges were certified on May 18, 2026, and Charles Berry was arrested later that day in Newington, Connecticut. At this time, the family of Roberta Walls does not wish to make any statements or participate in any interviews. They respectfully ask for your privacy as they continue to process these deeply emotional and traumatic events 40 years in the making. The family appreciates the public's understanding and asks that everyone respect their privacy during this difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now open the floor for questions to ensure we hear from each of you. Please wait to be called upon by outlet. I am going to allow you each 3 questions, and we're going to do round robin. We understand? Okay. First off, WTKR.
Yes. Can you kind of explain what is Mr. Berry's relation to the area? Did he live here?
He was in the Navy during that, I'm sorry. He was in the Navy during that time period and was stationed here.
WBEC.
Interesting.
Do we know his relation to Roberta at the time, and does he recall anything or account anything from the murder and the brutal act that day?
There's something that I can't speak on at this point in time.
Wavy.
So cold cases like this often include decades of both past and current investigators. What does this mean for the department, both current and retired, that the case like this has come to a close?
I can tell you that while it was an egregious event, that there was some joy in the office that we were able to finally find somebody and be able to bring them to justice. I know that some of the detectives from the past would have been very joyful to hear this news, but of course they've passed on. However, this is incredibly significant for our police department and of course our cold case. The fact that my deputy chief and chief support us in trying to bring in new technologies in order to bring these cases is absolutely incredible and important for us. So,
hey, you guys want to see something weird? Anybody? You guys want to see something kind of strange? Yeah, that's what I've said a million times, Lisa. Thanks for using my phrase. I always say that there is, there's a lot of killers that have killed people over the years, they assaulted them prior to like 2000 or so, that are all shitting their pants, waiting for the door to be knocked on. Yeah. All right. So, anyways, look at this. So here's this guy's face, right? I mean, look at this guy. It looks like a completely, like two different, like just his face is crooked as shit. I mean, like this eye over here, right in the middle of his face is like right there, and then all of a sudden it rotates. Like it's almost like somebody grabbed the top of his head and twisted it to the left or something. So here's the thing. If you take the left side of his face and mirror it, he looks like this. That one looks about as more normal. Like kind of normally. Like squint your eyes. Yeah, kind of looks like a normal weirdo, you know. So there you go. See that one? That one right there, he looks sort of normal, okay? Ish. You know, just like an old guy with kind of a small mouth or something. So you got that one. And then if you take the other side of his face, look at this weirdo. I mean, that's the other side of his head mirrored. Like if he was a symmetrical person, he looks like a Neanderthal wacko. Maybe this guy had two different personalities, okay? I just made this while we were just playing that. I mean, look at this. Like, these are the two sides of his face are that drastically different that you have an alien over here and some guy, I don't even know. You got to admit, that's crazy, though, right? Yeah, this one over here is one of those guys that has a really small brain and acts out. You just sort of wonder, is that the half? Isn't that weird, though? Like, that's the same person, and one side of his face looked like that when you mirror it, if he was a symmetrical human. And then the other side of his face, he looked like that. Most people would look sort of similar, you know, when you put them together. Maybe not Jim Lawn or, you know, but most people, though, if you... That's pretty crazy, man. You got to admit. See, there he is. That right there. Isn't that wild? And it's like literally his whole head was wrenched to the left. See, like right there, it's normal, right? If you cut his face in half, like here's what I was working on the side. See, look at that. That's all I did. Look at that. Just look at that right there. Is that crazy? Look at that. You can see that I'm not making this shit up. Look it. Boom, boom. That's the other half. See? It's absolutely crazy. It's twisted all to hell. Look it. If you went like this, and you just got rid of that, that's normal. That's like a normal lower part of a head, right? The nose, the mouth, everything's kind of normal there, right? That looks absolutely normal. And then if you go, let's see. So you put it back on, and then I think if you remove the lower part from there down, I mean, it's just like, it's hard to, you know what you would think? That he turned his head sideways a little bit. That's what you would think. That he's turning his head to the right. Instead, somebody took a wrench to his head and just cranked it over. That's crazy. You know? Yeah. God, look at that. Jesus. Now, in my case, today when I was fishing, I would have one side of my face that looked like I had 17,000 gumballs in my mouth and a chipmunk, and the other side would look sort of like what I normally look like. So, yeah, you know. I just don't know how your head can get like this, to be honest with you. It's like he acted out like this side on the right. That's how he acted as a person, but on the left is... all right, let's get back to this.
It's an amazing day on a terrible event.
The Virginian pilot.
Just want to clarify, so you said that in 2023 that the DNA profile matched Barry. In that intervening period of time, I know that cold cases, they often rely on new technology and advancements to make those connections that otherwise could not have been made in the past. What are the other investigative work that...
Let's just put it this way. His head was rotated on an axis that doesn't exist. Okay? Somebody grabbed the middle of his head and wrenched it over to the right and let it grow that way.
Your detectives were engaging in to establish?
A lot of that is who he is, where is he from, and any type of connection to the area, essentially.
Okay, so interviewing other people about him, around him.
Correct.
Who might have known him.
The outlet that you represent? Ma'am.
She's a
Thank you. WTKR.
Does Mr. Barry have a prior criminal record? Like, how did his DNA, how was that available for it to be a match?
We had to go, we had to do a search warrant to get it.
WBEC?
Yeah, a question, Chief, if you don't mind, jumping up real quick. You know, a crime that's committed 40 years in your community for a man to be walking free. Can you just kind of dive into those emotions? You know, we've seen cold cases where the person's dead, there's no accountability left because they've passed. In this case, that's not the case. Can you kind of just share your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I echo what you're trying to allude, that it's incredibly scary for the community to think that someone that would rape and brutally murder someone 40 years ago was out in the society. And, you know, I think we have done our due diligence to try to, you know, we wonder, is he involved in war crimes? I think that's what the community wonders. That's what everyone here wants to know. Someone that brutally murders and rapes someone, how is that a one-time occurrence?
Right.
But as of this time, we have no indication that he was involved in other crimes. And I think, you know, the other piece to that is it took 40 years, but these detectives never gave up. So the families, you know, the other families that are out there, we've got great detectives, and we know that we have solved 100% of our homicides the last 2 years. But we do have open homicides, and there are families and loved ones in this community that have not yet received the closure and the justice that they deserve. But this team has not given up on them. So for those families that are out there, I think this provides them hope and tells them that these detectives are continuing to grind every day, and that there is hope in the future that we will bring the closure and the justice that they also deserve.
Wavy TV10.
So was Charles ever on investigators' radar, or was it just purely through this breakthrough in forensic evidence that he came forward?
It was purely through the technology that we were through the forensic.
Isn't that amazing? So when they said that they were close at one point, they weren't close.
The Virginian pilot.
I did have a follow-up on that. So I know that to be able to, his DNA had to be in a DNA bank, like a genealogy to like tested against it. So was that breakthrough made when he submitted his DNA to like a genealogy service? And then, sorry, a backup question to that. I know I only can ask one question at this time. There were other suspects and persons of interest throughout the case from the 80s and over time. Did his name ever come up as a person of interest or somebody who was in the circle of...
No, his name never came up throughout the 40 years until we were able to identify a DNA profile. As far as the genetic genealogy, it's quite technical when we talk about those, but it's an investigation that has to be done through those genealogy websites.
It's really not that difficult to explain. They take the DNA sequence, they have to upload it into GEDmatch using the same raw data files that Ancestry has, so that there are companies out there that are able to take DNA and format it correctly without having to spit into a tube to create the raw data file. Then you upload it to GEDmatch. GEDmatch return and other sites just like GEDmatch, like family tree DNA. And when you do that, it gives you back the centimorgan number. Centimorgans have a known relationship level. So if it's like 250, maybe it's a second cousin or something. If it's, 600, it's probably a first cousin. Then if it's, 1200, it's a sibling, and, whatever. It goes like that. They can tell you that. So when they hope to God they have something in the 200s. And when you get that, you start building out a family tree using places like newspapers.com, if you can believe it. Because what they'll do is they'll find who that person is with the 200 centimorgans and then start building out their tree, find out who their grandparents are. They use obituaries, all kinds of things, different websites out there, and then they start building a tree together, waiting to the point where they have a person from both sides and then can narrow down to the individual. And then they give that tip to law enforcement. Then they look it up. Does it make sense? Yes, he was in the area, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There you go. Wasn't that a simple explanation? Yeah.
Sites.
This is our last round. Did you want to add?
If I could just add to the DNA testing. Throughout this investigation, we tested numerous people.
Yeah, and that's I was about to say. And sometimes you have to, when there's a gap in there, you have to ask different people out there if they wouldn't mind. They'll pay for it, but upload your DNA, get your raw data, and then upload it to GEDmatch to try to fill in some of the gaps.
People that were in Roberta's inner circle that had prior relationships with her, that were friends, that were potential suspects, and we eliminated all of them through DNA. So that was pretty significant. Our suspect was an unknown to Roberta, we believe, until the day of the murder. He was not in her inner circle, and we believe they met the night of the crime. So there's been extensive work in the DNA.
So is he the one that she was supposed to go out with? That sounds right, doesn't it? Was he the one that she was going to have dinner with because he gave her a ride to work? Is that him? Because that was in one of the articles.
DNA field on our end with testing and in the science field in order to identify our suspect, and we are extremely confident we have the right person.
This is our last round.
Last question, just does the suspect, is he in custody, and does he have any ties to the area still, like family living here?
He's currently in custody in Connecticut, and he's awaiting extradition to Virginia. And once he gets here, he'll be in custody here in Virginia Beach, and then he'll start his court proceedings here in Virginia Beach. He has a multi-million-dollar bond currently in Connecticut. And
because she said she met him that night. All right, let's take a look at that again. I think it's in this. She was not an angel. I think it might have been on the last. Was it on this page? Oh yeah, sometime between 11. Let's see, maybe down here. That night, Roberta said she was going out with the man who had given her the ride home from work. They apparently planned to have some drinks together, police said. Ann Walls told Roberta to be home by 10:30 p.m., but Roberta never returned. Sometime between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m., Roberta Walls died. So she probably had the food in her stomach from the dinner, and the person she was at dinner with, they probably paid with cash. Nobody knows who it was. There was no surveillance cameras back then. And I bet you that's who this is. Doesn't that make sense? Because it could be that she went out with this other guy, and then, that guy left, and then there was this other guy there because she just kept having drinks or something. I don't know. But we're reading about it right there, and he sort of seemed to say that it was somebody she met that night, and the person who dropped her off, I think, was somebody she just met. Said she was going out with the man who had given her the ride home from work. Now, I don't know. Is that a coworker then? And then we're just looking at something else? I don't know. If that's an unknown person that just happened to give her a ride home, like she's standing outside and got a ride home, like, hey, putting her thumb up and she got a ride home from work. Yeah, I've always said that, Phyllis Watson, that people should get the death penalty in the same way that they killed somebody. And I think there'd be a lot less killing. Yeah. All right, let's see.
And we suspect the same probably in Virginia Beach.
You guys touch on how important the newer technology is in the DNA and everything like that, and how important it is for funding and being able to continue to pursue other cases.
Or they would kill people more humanely.
Funding is key, and we are extremely grateful for the funding we got with the Saki grant in order to move this case forward. But there are other cases that we need funding for as well to move forward. And so we are pursuing that actively and try to bring those cases to a resolution as well. The technology has evolved.
Tell you what, in this case, I think that this person here should get the death penalty. And then this guy over here, let's give this guy clemency, okay? But this guy here, so what we got to do is slice him in half, all right? Now, I know it's kind of complicated and everything, but what we do is we cut him in half, and then we pour salt in the one side. And look at this. He doesn't even have a bow tie on this one. Isn't that weird? Oh, there it is.
And what this case really highlights is the tenacity and the due diligence that detectives did 40 years ago, not knowing what we could do today. They preserved all the evidence. They were meticulous in the recovery, and that's what led us to the case.
He might have been in the military because he's 66 now. This happened in 86. He had been 26 years old.
Conclusion
he was
now
born in 59.
Is that police work was exceptional then, and it continues to be exceptional now. And we are fortunate in Virginia Beach that we have an incredibly competent and motivated detective bureau that wants to solve crime.
Wavy.
So you kind of already mentioned that this was almost a random act of violence. So that was already been answered. But back in 2017, you guys used forensic DNA technology to make that composite image that led to this investigation. It was the first time the department had used that kind of technology.
It didn't help at all.
This investigation. Can you kind of walk us through that breakthrough moment?
That was a breakthrough moment for us, but really what that did is gave us a composite.
Right. You have them a composite.
What really cascaded this case.
But what it was they had a whole DNA sequence to make this composite, and they still had it there, and then eventually used that same sequence to do genealogy. Let's see if he says that.
Additionally, is when we were able to get the genealogy
there you
research.
go. Yeah, see what I'm saying? I might as well write these things.
Potential suspects, and then out of those potential suspects that we were able to identify through the genealogy, we had clearly identified one individual that lived in close proximity to the crime scene, and we believe was the primary suspect. That led us to securing a search warrant for that particular individual, our suspect's DNA, which resulted in a direct match to the crime scene.
The Virginian pilot.
This is for a question for Wilkerson. What is the most recent cold case that has been solved in the department?
Well, this is it.
I mean, before this one.
Well, I will say that we solve cold cases regularly. Some of the cold cases and unfortunately some of the sexual assaults that we solve go unprosecuted because victims no longer want to pursue the case. But we are actively pursuing all of those crimes. So just because you don't see it in the news doesn't mean it hasn't been solved. Sometimes defendants have died, sometimes victims have died, but we never give up to try to solve the case.
We appreciate all of you for attending, and we ask that you enjoy your day. I would like to say if you have any additional questions in reference to this case, then you can reach out to the PAO, and we will get with our
She's cool.
our folks here to get those answered. I know that I was speaking with you, Nori, a little bit earlier. If you have additional questions about other cases, please follow the protocols.
Except she moves her lips at the
that are extended
wrong
to
time.
you so that we can get those
I'm
questions
kidding.
answered. And be
Just
kind
the
as
audio's
we
off.
ask that you would give the family the privacy that they deserve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's amazing, isn't it? Boom. Another one bites the dust. Bam, boom, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. Very cool, very cool. So, was that good for you? Carol? Silva? Did you like that one? Pretty interesting, wasn't it? All right, so that one right there. I thought tonight's show was pretty good. A little, decent flow to it all the way through, I guess. Let's see. All right, so let's see. We had a really good Nancy Guthrie discussion. We talked about the lawsuit with Upchurch. What else? And then we did this one. There we go. Pretty cool, huh? All right. Well, we've been on here for 3 hours and 39 minutes. And I think that's going to do it. Yeah, she's pretty tall. But yeah, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. Thanks thanks. We had Marty Bar and Grill Coffee. And then we had Wild Bill Wassman, Cheryl Bullock, Karen, then Wild Bill Wassman, Wild Bill Wassman, and Wild Bill Wassman during the slow times. Then Whiskey Boots, Timothy Cecil, Linda Howe, then Wild Bill Wassman again. And then Chris O'Connell came in and gifted 5 memberships. And then Timothy Cecil, and then Run the World. Then Carol Silva gifted 1. Then Run the World. Then Chris O'Connell did that was those 5 right then before that were her challenge. She did a 10 for 5. 5 people, and then she did 10. Then that came in, and then we had Wild Bill Wassman, Chris O'Connell gifted 1, both in a row there. Then Karen, then Bengal Cat Chili 52 months, freakazoid, or just he's a freak. And then Carol Silva gifted 1. Then Chris O'Connell gifted 1. Then Wild Bill Wassman, Chris O'Connell, and then Chris O'Connell did like a cat eye, the avocado dance, and then gifted another 5. So, I want to say, special thanks to Chris O'Connell and Wild Bill Wassman. And then we had Phyllis Watson gift 5, so thank you there. And Karen, and then Carol Silva gifted multiple times too, so thank you. And then Chris O'Connell at the end. Yeah. So there you go. Very cool. And like I said before, we had Marty's Bar and Grill with a coffee, a bucket. So very cool. Oh yeah, what's the question? What's the question? Let's see. Let's see if it's a troll question or not. Anybody have any money on that? If the question being asked is a troll question. By Red Fred. Do you think it'll be a troll question? Put a 1 if you think it'll be a troll question. Yeah, it's going to be a troll question. New account. Get ready. Here we go. And yeah, see you later. Yeah, you've already been removed. That's hilarious. Okay, where's the super chat? Where's the super chat, you dipshit? You said you were going to send one in. God, what a liar, too. Jeez, these people, scumbags. Anyways, thanks, everybody. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. And who knows what tomorrow will bring. Anyways, did you guys like the show tonight? Thanks for calling in there. Jason Bourne. Tomos. I know, they're so dumb. They think we can't figure it out, like when they come in. You know, how about you send your super chat first, then do a troll? Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow we'll discuss the you know, how it all comes together. Because though you guys, let me ask you guys something. For those who are following this channel and the way we're discussing the Nancy Guthrie case, isn't it really the best? Like, the most rational, logical approach of reality, kind of the way it most likely things happen. Don't you guys agree with that? Hey, thanks. Marty's Bar and Grill. Yeah, we had 3 days in a row of not even like half the goal, and then tonight we reached it. So at least that's good. And I caught a bass today. I mean, what else? But honestly, don't you guys think that? I mean, if you're just following along, like tonight's discussion, when we went through the whole thing, and I don't know, hey, did you guys, for those who came late, I'll show you the pictures. Did you see the pictures, Phyllis Watson, that I came up with? Yeah, let me show you these. I'll just show them at the end, in case you hadn't seen them. So this isn't the greatest one in the world, but this is kind of, you know, the car would pull up and then pretend that's Nancy Guthrie, and that's Tommaso walking her into the home, okay? Then the next one that I have in the sequence here is like later on, he's in the backyard, and this is where the light is over here, the floodlight, and the camera's right up there. And then there's another camera over there, and he's walking around in the backyard. And then here's another one. He's over here. He just had propped open the gate over here, right there, right? And then this one, he's walking over. There's a door under there that he props open. You see that? And then, once he gets into the home, he goes into Nancy's bedroom, and she's laying. This is using the background in the house. Goes in, and she's sleeping there. And then she wakes up to him. And then, boom, you know, like it's a confrontation. You could almost like do this as an animation. See that? Like ding, ding, and he gets a little bit closer, goes around, and then, you know, after that, he takes her out of the house. So there you go. I wish more people, but people like to do the crazy conspiracy stuff. Now, I'm totally open to it being, you know, it could be somebody that worked there, you know, those kind of things. I'm just going with what I feel like is the most logical. Well, thank you, Phyllis Watson, for such a kind comment. I thought it was a pile of crap, according to the troll. And what did you think of that? Wasn't that crazy, Lori? It looks pretty reasonable, right? Like, I think it's just a good way to sort of, it gets you to sort of feel more about like what might have been going on. You know, I think it would be cool if I did an animation, kind of like I did in the Charlie Kirk case, where you have these little figures walking around, and then I cut over to using AI images to sort of fill in the gap, and then we just kind of keep moving around, and then boom. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody again. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Oh! Thank you, freaks. Tomorrow I'm gonna have a new mic on here. We'll see what it sounds like. Thank you for watching Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube, where we cover true crime using logic, reason, and common sense. Something other YouTubers do not use. Thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Let's try to get that damn thing working.
Evil can never be dead enough. And some of you, you make shit up.
Bye.